Welcome back to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Why We Serve with Benjamin Lake. Yours is always Benjamin Lake. Tonight, very special episode. We got the one and the only Ed Lake, my father, joining us tonight. We're going to have a little chat. What's going on, Dad?
Hey, I've been looking forward to it for a little while, and now you're here, so kind of looking forward to seeing what we're going to talk about.
Oh, yeah. We brought out the whiskey. We ran over here late at night after the kids went to bed. It's about to be a party. So I'm just going to, obviously, the people already know me a little bit, but now they're going to kind of learn, who raised me, who I got most of my ideals from, who continues to show me what right and wrong is. And then even Brett, the truckers, like, they carry America as well. They're one of the most important things we have in this world. But really talking to you, I really wanted to go over a little bit of like kind of what you've done in the past, just because you've kind of lived out the American dream in certain ways of like, handling your own stuff, make it on your own and putting yourself out there in ways that not a lot of people have the strength to. So
I appreciate you saying that. We always said that there's people that jump and there's people that won't. And I was a jumper. I mean, if I thought it could work, I jumped right into it head first.
Yeah. Let's just kind of start. You can go as deep or little as you want, but let's just kind of start. Childhood, where you grew up, a little bit about how you were raised and stuff, and then kind of that build up to your early years and stuff, how it all worked out.
Okay. Well, I'm a 60-year-old man, so I was born in '63. And back in those days, dads were tough and moms usually didn't work. And so that's kind of how I was raised when I was real young. We lived here in the country. And my dad was a fireman up in St. Louis. And he would come home every other day and then 3 days in a row. And we would cut firewood. I was 5 years old and have to load it on a trailer and bring it home because that's the only heat we had was wood stoves. And then my mom finally couldn't take it anymore, and we moved to St. Louis. And
how old were you when you moved up there? I didn't know you were
seven.
7. Okay, so you were in the farmhouse here then while Grandpa was still working up there.
Yes,
that's kind of tough.
It was a tough. We had outside John. We had cold water from a well outside that you drew water. Mm-hmm. It was not electric. We did not have running water in the house until I guess we were there about a year, and then my grandpa helped my dad get a well and running water, and we only had cold running water. Yeah. And that's the way it was even when I moved your mom out here.
Yeah, I remember all that. You guys always told me about that stuff. I mean, even me growing up in that house, there's so much history to it, and not a lot of people, like, now especially it seems even the people that have it tough don't really know about those ways of life. So it's interesting to see.
No.
How was the transition? I mean, you probably don't remember too much of it, or maybe you do, but like the transition from 7-year-old kid coming from Vienna, Missouri up to St. Louis, where you guys were in the city, right? It
was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I could walk around back in those days, I walked around at 7, 8, even 9 years old with a wagon asking people for if they had any soda bottles that they wanted to let me have, and then I would turn those soda bottles in for 5 cents.
Yeah.
So I started working and making my own money when I was 7, 8 years old, getting soda bottle money, and that's how I got my candy and whatever else I wanted.
Yeah. Back then it was kind of safe enough too in those neighborhoods, especially like just walking around doing what work you could.
I just knocked on doors.
Yeah.
Do you have any soda bottles you wouldn't want? And they would put them on the wagon, and I would haul them up to the 7-Eleven, and they would give me my 5 cents per bottle.
Yeah. Is this out in Maryland Heights?
St. Anne's.
We
lived in St. Anne's for 2 years, and then my dad bought a house in Maryland Heights, and I stayed there until I moved out on my own.
Okay. For those, if you're not from St. Louis, there's a lot of people that don't really know Missouri. They think it's a shithole, but like St. Louis has like the city, which like St. Anne is pretty much in the city almost. It's right on the it's by the airport, so I mean it's right there. But then where else they live was Maryland Heights, which is that West County or North County?
That would be called Central or West County.
Yeah.
And, it was on North, it was in between North County and West County. And it was a growing population at the time. It was just unincorporated. When we moved there, it wasn't called Maryland Heights. It was called St. Louis County. That's it.
Yeah, it was a metropolitan area, right? Like
Right.
all of that was, yeah.
And then Maryland Heights incorporated our area, and yeah, we had to
I
vote
didn't
on
know
it.
that. Yeah.
I voted no, and my dad voted yes.
And that's where it all started.
No. It all started a long time before that, my friend.
You went to high school out in Pattonville, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. What were like your biggest interest in high school?
I thought I was going to be an accountant. I did accounting and really liked it, and I was pretty good in math. So I thought, man, this is where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And then I got out, and actually 6 months before I got out of high school, I joined the Army and got my date and went down for a last physical, and they dropped me and said that I had a scar underneath my eye from a previous injury, and they would not take me because I had a pre-existing injury.
Oh wow.
It really hurt.
How did they even see that though? In an eye test or something?
No, I got a pretty bad scar underneath my
okay.
left eye, and
from the
they
Yeah.
asked me, and I was
Yeah.
honest with them, and I told them what it was, and that I had to have surgery, and they marked it all down, and then a day later they came back and said that my orders had been changed and I couldn't join.
Yeah, that's tough.
It
Especially
wa-
if that's like your, because you were probably going to go active duty. It's like that's
I,
your life you're thinking about ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Especially that young.
I was excited. I was going in. I had most of my dad and my uncles all served. I only had one uncle on either side that didn't serve,
Yeah.
and so I wanted to serve, and it didn't work out, and it hurt. It hurt.
Yeah.
So
Well, what in high school? What kind of while you were thinking that stuff about your life in the future, what stuff was going on then that like you really dove into? Like I know obviously hunting has been part of my life since I was a kid. Would you say you were just involved then, or was it not as applicable because you were up there?
no, we had this farm. My grandmother had this farm since 1940, so we always lived here, and or came down when we lived in the city. We came down here almost every weekend that I was available. My dad would say, "Come on, we're going," and we hunted and we fished and we worked on the farm. And then later on, he was able to purchase it, and then later on, as time went on, me and my brother ended up able to get it. So, no, hunting and fishing was a big portion. In our days, there was a lot of young. It's funny that we think about it now, but we started partying at a very young age. And when I say young, I mean I personally hung around 17 and 18-year-olds when I was 15. So I probably started drinking and acting stupid when I was 14 and 15 years old. And so I always worked. I had I worked at a roller skating rink at 15.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked at a 7-Eleven from the time I was 16 and the roller skating rink. And then at one time, I had the roller skating rink, 7-Eleven, and I also worked at a trucking company on the docks. And so always worked.
Yeah. What do you talk about like your partying and stuff. For me, when I was here, there's things to do like go to field parties and stuff like that, or go on back roads. What up there? Do you just go to bars or something and hang out? Or
No,
like,
no,
what?
no, no. Back then, that time frame, a lot of parents, as long as as long as you partied in the basement, they would rather you party at their house and know where you are at than you to be running around and getting in trouble. And so my parents were that way, and a lot of my friends' parents were that way. So we would have parties at all their houses, and we just had big yard parties and basement parties, and it was a different time frame. Policemen would pull you over, and they'd ask you if you had been drinking, and of course you'd answer yes. I mean, you were an idiot if you told them no, and they'd say, "Where are you going?" And I'd say home, and they go, "I don't want to see you. I want you get your ass home, and I don't want to see you the rest of the night." And so you drove home, and you didn't you didn't get in trouble. That's not the way it is today.
Yeah. Do you think it's headed in a better way now?
Oh, yeah.
Or yeah. I guess it more avoids those. I mean, like, people who want to do it are like, it sounds fun, I guess, more fun, but like with that, there's more recklessness, I guess, too. I don't really like.
Well, here's the thing. It's already known right now that distracted driving, I'm talking telephones mostly, are causing more accidents than DUIs. So what we did was we traded a terrible situation, DWIs, and which people deserved. So now people don't drive because they don't want the DUI.
Yeah.
But they also cannot drive without looking at their phone. I'm as guilty as anyone, and accidents are terrible. Now, when I say I'm as guilty, there's certain times that I look at it, there's certain times I will not. Today, I had somebody with me.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't never looked at the phone the whole time because I had somebody's life with me.
Right.
So
I think it makes the world a lot safer that, like, cops are stricter and maybe parents aren't like, I don't really know if parents are like allowing that stuff as much anymore. I think it went like a pendulum to where, like, your guys' parents were like, we'll let them do this stuff as long as they're with us. And then it started slowly like, well, they're not going to do that here. They're not going to do that here. And then maybe like, I don't know if like now if parents are really doing that, but then it seems like kids aren't really drinking either. Like, it's more about like psychedelics and weed and stuff like that. But then it's like, okay, well, now you have a new danger that really can't be controlled as well either. Like, that medium is so freaking hard because I can't, even with my kids, they're so young, but when they get older, I can't imagine like trying to figure out like, okay, what's the left and right limits of them, like, letting them have a good time and exploring the world as a young adult, but like figuring out what's dangerous.
Usually it comes from whatever you did. So my dad lost his father at 12 years old, so he was hanging with grown men at a young age and started drinking at a young age. He did quit after I was born. After a while, I was pretty good size before he quit, but he allowed me to drink at a much younger age. Now today, parents that are allowing their kids to do stuff because they smoked dope and they did the psychedelics and they did the stupid shit.
Yeah.
So now they're letting their kids do it without disciplining them because it didn't hurt them, so they think it's not going to hurt their kids. Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
It's just not true.
Well, and it's not. It sucks because me, I didn't really do a lot of that, but like drinking, but you're like, even drinking, like any of that other stuff, weed, pills, like any of that stuff, whether it's on your body or your mind, none of it's fully formed yet in those teenage years. So it has to be affecting it in a in a mostly negative way. Now the experiences are solid. Like, a lot of people learn stuff from that, good and bad, and like, but the effects of it totally on your body is just something you want not for your kids. Even if you have a story to tell, it ain't worth it, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I was,
Yeah, I mean-
I've got a lot of stories, and a lot of them revolve around stupid shit. you
Yeah.
know?
I
You know?
And everybody has that in the back of their mind of like these. There's a story you have from like, there's like the best stories you have, but like those trinkets of like 4, 10, 12 even, or 20 stories don't outweigh the 50 bad stories of all the dumb shit or the pains or whatever, you know, or like that little regret pings every now and then. Like, it just ain't worth it.
That's why, in my opinion, hunting, fishing, there's other sports for other people, but those two sports, you take kids, you teach them to hunt, you teach them to fish. That is one thing that they can do, and they're not getting in trouble, and it has memories that last lifetimes.
Oh yeah. I think almost any sport, if you dive deep enough into it, if you're obsessed with it, like hunting, fishing, I'm talking physical stuff too. I don't know about gaming and stuff like that, but like basketball, baseball, football, dance, even
any
for
team-
girls and stuff
team
like that.
sports.
Like, yeah, those type of things really like help your mind stay away from the bad stuff, or you're too focused of like, I'm gonna get this done. I'm gonna do this on the weekend instead of that because this is important to me. I mean, that's what I'm not gonna say winners because it's not like everybody's a loser or anything, but like the people that are succeeding in life, they're obsessed with this stuff that they do, so they become like something greater because they're obsessing over it over and over and over. Whether it's the greatest hunters in the world to the greatest bowlers in the world to like whoever, they're obsessed with it.
I agree with you 100%, but I will say that the other thing is they're doing something they love.
Yeah.
If you can find a way to market something that you love, you will it'll never feel like work to you because it's just it's not work. When you love what you do, it's not even work.
Yeah.
And I've said that 100 times. Now I drive a truck, but the thing is when I hunt, I should have followed through with some things that I didn't. Now, there was a lot of things I did that were really cool that a lot of people wishes they could have done or wish they would have done. And I kind of wish that I would have tried out to be a guide, a fishing guide or a hunting guide. I think I would have succeeded in that because I was obsessed, with both.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that those are good. Anytime that you can do things that you love, it's just it changes the way you can the whole way you live. I mean, when you wake up in the morning, you're happy to go to work.
Yeah, you're not pissed off or anything. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, we get to do this again. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the hard part too is you look at the flip, Dad, of like when you were growing up, in like your 20s, 30s, that's the 80s and 90s of like this time of pre-internet. Everything is found in, like you said earlier today, the white pages, like looking up stuff like that or doing it yourself, which was like hunting and fishing. There were guides and stuff back then, but I guarantee nowhere near the amount that there are today.
Oh no!
Like-
And they weren't making the kind of money they're making today.
No, and I think that too is that back then it was a niche culture almost. And I don't know if it's a niche culture, but like people were like, "This is our group here. This is what we do." Now it's like it could be a businessman from like Toronto or New York or something that's just like, "I'm gonna go elk hunting this weekend because fuck it, it's a challenge." Like, I think the internet has made that so much more accessible to people.
The internet has turned entrepreneurship into a much larger thing because you can advertise there, and now you can advertise on TikTok and you can advertise on YouTube and all these other venues that we never had when we had to knock on doors. I mean, I was,
Oh, I was-
you know, I did.
I was
did a
gonna
lot of
jump
different
into it
business.
later. Yeah, you had a bunch of businesses where you had to drive around to state on using an atlas, figuring out where these little gas stations, like little convenience stores and shit, and be like, hey, would you buy my product? Like, that is, to me, 10 times harder than opening up a Shopify account, selling your shit, and using TikTok and Instagram and boosting your, because that's just money pumping. All those people are doing is pumping in, because I've learned it with this too, to boost a post, right, for a business account. If you want to boost, like, let's say I make an ad for this, you can put a dial in of, like, I could put in $5, which is what I'll do, like a dollar to $5, and it'll reach like 1,000 people, which sounds amazing. But people put in for some stuff like $200-$300 on a post, and it reaches like 1 million people.
Right.
And it's just like, I'm not saying it's unfair, but it's just like, you're not getting out there and actually working. You're just funneling money into this thing, like hoping it takes off, like not
Well,
out
it's
there
just-
testifying.
It's another form of advertising, and all businesses for forever have been this way. Small businesses who couldn't afford to advertise had a hard time getting off the ground, and other people who could advertise a lot could advertise a sub product and still reach more people and sell more and make more money because they could advertise more. Advertising sells, right? And whether it's fair or not, it is fair in the sense that if you have the money, you can advertise as much as the next guy. The sad part of it is it all revolves around fucking money. I mean, if you don't have the money, to get started,
You can't jump off that. You can't jump to that next level. How are you gonna?
Well, there are ways, and I always survived, but there were reasons. There I can tell you the reasons I didn't survive as far as getting big. I work for a company now, and when I started, had 5 drivers, and now they got over 60.
Yeah.
Now, when I started with him, he didn't want to get over 10, and now
Yeah.
he's got over 60.
Yeah.
Okay, I could never hire someone, put them in a truck, send them to New Jersey, and never worry about it. And I'm not going to say he doesn't worry, but he can do that. I was always the understanding on every business I had is that no one could do it as good as me. So I did it myself.
Yeah.
And that's not,
It's hard to accept. It's hard to understand that that's the wrong mentality if you're going to run a business with other people.
You're never going to grow.
No. It's the Army. Army does the same thing. You're like, other people may not be like as quick with it and stuff, and you're like, well, I'll just fucking do it. Like, move out of the way. I'll get it done. But as a leader, you, especially, or like in business, if you're like the owner, you have to trust other people to do it, or you're never gonna have a workforce.
Right.
Like they're
Absolutely.
and you're not going to be known as a good boss. No one's going to want
If
to work
you
for
can
you.
delegate, you will move up. If you
Yes.
can't delegate, you'll never move up.
No, it
Never expand.
you cannot progress without trust in your fellow people and your subordinates. Like, that's like number one ideology in the Army. They call it servant leadership, which I really don't like that like term, but it says that you actually, you're working to better your subordinates so they can perform better, which like I don't know if I buy into that 100%. You need to work your ass off like to be a good employee, but it is true. Like, if you have a boss that's willing to do anything, like, that right now with
Right.
yours, if you have a boss that's willing to do anything for you, you will work your ass off to like support them and get the mission done.
Absolutely, 150%. That is the kind of person I work for today. He never asked you to do anything that he wouldn't do himself.
Right.
And I didn't get the privilege to serve, but I can say that I can see how that works in the military, because if you have to ask somebody to do something, you ought to be able to do it yourself.
There's a creed for NCOs and for drill sergeants that says, I will not ask them, like I'm paraphrasing here, but it says, I will never ask a subordinate to accomplish a task I would not do myself.
Yeah,
like that's the creed, and it's always like, why would you? Like it, I'm not going to listen to somebody that can't even do this job, you know?
And one of the things growing up with kids is you should show them, which I'm not saying that I was the best example of this, but I will say that you have to be able to show them that you're willing to do. You can't tell them to do something that you wouldn't do yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You can't make them do something. If you want their room spotless, then your room ought to be spotless.
Yeah.
And, if you want them to keep the car clean, then your clean car ought to be clean,
That's what I'm learning with Jamie and them. If I don't want them to yell or get mad or throw a fit, like I can't be throwing a fit around them then. I can't be losing my temper. You got to and it's never going to be perfect, but you got to accept that understanding of like, this is what people see, whether it's your kids, whether it's your subordinates or whatever. This is what people see, and they reflect on it like they are your descendant. You gotta make yourself better to make them better.
Well, you're a lake, so that probably says most of it right there. I was a little rough. My dad was really rough. His brothers were really rough.
Yeah.
And my cousins all felt the brunt of our dads and how they had a short temper. And I lost mine tonight earlier and over something, just being worn out and tired and,
But it's sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
It's just it sucks that dads that are known as hard, which what you're talking about, those dads back in the day that were really very tough and like a little too hard sometimes. That is like, it created this group of gentlemen that are like solid workers. They work their ass off, all that stuff. But I'm not going to say they have trauma because like none of you guys ever label it as that. But there's that thing. I know a lot of those guys is like, we dealt with this shit, we work our asses off and we shut our mouths. And that's hard because then you have our group that's like, our dads were a little tough, but like, we learned a lot of stuff from them that we utilize to this day. It's just hard that it has to be like this toughness to create such a quality product. That sucks, especially for your generation of like, we had that very like, don't give a fuck. You're going to work, like you're going to figure it out. You got to do what I say and listen or beat your ass. Like that's hard, but it made you such like an outstanding person. I don't know if that's what made it, but
I don't know that I would call myself an outstanding person, but I will tell you this, that I raised 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl, and they're outstanding. And how they got there was their mother. That's a fact, because I was rough, and I'm a tough guy, and I'm not bragging that I'm tough. I don't crawfish, and I never wanted my kids to crawfish. And I remember one time you come home and you said something about somebody, and I said, next time he does that, you beat him till his eyes bleed. Mm-hmm. And you looked at me and you go, what are you talking about? And you were really upset that I would even think that way. And you were the one teaching me at the moment, and you didn't know it, because I really just didn't think. I just spoke. Mm-hmm. How I was and how I was brought up, and that was not necessarily the right way.
Yeah. I've had those moments with my kids. It's hard. We're going to take a little short break real quick, and we'll jump back into Dad's life and stuff, but we'll be right back after this, okay? All right, guys, and we're back with Dad telling us about a whole bunch of stuff. Also, I just want to point out we tried a banana whiskey before we got on here. It was interesting.
Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah. No, but we kind of went down a rabbit hole. But Dad, just tell me, you know, you get outlet, you know, you go through your high school years, you get to the end of it. Kind of, what was the transition there after high school of what you did after and stuff?
I just told this story the other day. I graduated on a Saturday, had a huge party, big party. Next day, we had a couple of kegs there, and it was huge. The next day, we put the rest of the keg beer in some milk jugs and went out to Babbler State Park. I came home about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. My dad said, I want to talk to you for a minute. And at the time, I had 2 coon dogs in his backyard in a fenced-in pen, and I was hunting hard. And he told me that I either needed to move out or get rid of my dogs since I was graduated and needed to become a more
Functioning member of society.
yeah, there you go. I don't believe he used those words. And but I moved. I actually I didn't know where to go, so I called my grandmother. And when we moved from the farm, her neighbor had a rental house across the street.
Oh,
from
it's
her.
Jane Avenue.
Jane Avenue. Everybody knows about Jane. So anyway, I took and called her and said, do you know if Mr. Smith has got that house for rent? And she said, let me make a phone call. She called me back, and Wednesday, after I graduated on Saturday, I moved into that house. And my next door neighbor came over, and he said, who in the hell do you know in order to get this house? And I said, what are you talking about? I don't even know you, buddy. He said, I live next door, and my buddy has been on a waiting list for over a year to move in this house when he got free, and it just got free yesterday or last weekend, and we were waiting for Mr. Smith to call us, and now you move in.
Yeah.
I said, well, my grandma, and I told him the story, and he said, your grandma lives across the street? I said, we call her Nana, but yeah, she lives across the street. He said, I love your Nana. And he said, if that's your Nana, he said, then we're neighbors. And today he's one of my best friends. And Dean LeMaster. And,
Oh, that was Dean?
yeah, it was Dean. We stayed up till
That's awesome.
We stayed up till about 1 o'clock that
Yeah.
night drinking beer. And the first night I met him, and I knew we were going to be friends.
Yeah.
He was 2 years at the time. He was 2 years older or 3 years old. I think he's 3 years older than me. And we had a good life. We became good friends. We did a lot of stuff together. We hunted. We got stuck in the mud. We got fallen down drunk. We kissed inappropriate women at wrong times. You know, we walk up to strange women and just kiss them. And
Dean's the man. Yeah.
Me and him made a pretty good pair, but we were also, I mean, he came with a family. And when I say a family, he grew up in it was a area that was divided in half black and half white.
Mm-hmm.
And the school was that way.
Oh, okay.
So all the white kids hung together and all the black kids hung together. And even though they said they didn't want that, the school.
They were trying to integrate, but instead it was getting harder to divide.
It was getting worse and worse. And his friends are so tight that they all hug each other. They all gave kisses. And where my friends, you just kind of said, hey, how's it going out in the county?
Yeah.
Not these guys. They hugged you. They kissed you. They made you feel like you were part of their family.
Yeah.
And when I became friends with them, still friends with all of them today, every single one of them.
That's a tight-knit bond at that point that they can show affection. I think a lot of guys are like that, I mean, even my friends, we're not really like that, but like we appreciate the friendships. Like, I mean, I have guys like that in the Army. Like, those friendships are so tight, you can't, like, nothing will break that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's something beautiful. But, like,
Do you remember the first time that you heard me tell somebody that I loved them on the phone? Man.
I remember you just saying it to another guy, but I was young.
It was Dean, and you were very young.
Yeah.
And we hung up the phone, and you looked at me and you said, "Did you just tell another man that you loved him?" And I go, "Yep." And he goes, and you really looked at me funny. And I don't remember how old you were, but Tony was there, and she looked at me funny, you know. But and I remember saying, if you love somebody, don't be afraid to tell them you love them.
I remember when you said that. If you love somebody, tell them you love them. It was just like, it's Vienna, you know.
I know.
Growing up there, I don't remember anybody saying that to each other, except for like when we were in high school, when people were drunk, they would say it.
Yeah.
But then you're also like, man, there's a lot of stifledness going down there. If you're like, you know, you keep saying it over and over when you're drunk, you know. You probably should just say that to a person, like, naturally, like, not. It shouldn't have
when
to
you're
come out
drunk,
forced.
When you're drunk, we always said, that's the "I love you" drunks. I love you, man. I love you, man.
Yeah, but
and you know,
yeah,
and there's a lot of those.
There's a lot of them. We had like guys that like they were best friends, you know, and every time they get drunk together, they would say it to each other, and it's just like. But I guess what you're saying goes along with it too, of like that shit of like, I love you, man. I love you, but it's.
Well, all these guys that I'm talking about, they didn't have to be drunk to say it, and today we all say it to each other, and we're tight.
Yeah.
I called one of them tonight, and I said I had an electrician problem, and I called him, and I said, a friend in need is a friend indeed, and he laughed, and he said, "What do you need, buddy?" And I told him, and he told me exactly what to do, and I did it and got the problem solved. And, you know, I guess you know that I worked my whole life, but I also had this huge thing of friendship that my friends were like family.
Your network is something. Your network of people is something to be desired by most humans, because it's like I have a pretty solid friendship with people, and I leave on good intentions with most people I meet. You leave a resounding desire of people to be around you a lot of times. I would say probably 90%. There's probably everybody's not perfect, but you know, you when you make friends with someone, they are going to help you the rest of your life.
If you surround yourself by good people, you will be a good person.
I brought this up the other day. If I brought up to Gus, if you're if you're in a room of 3 assholes, chances are you're the 4th asshole.
Yep.
But if you're in a room of 3 saints, chances are you're the 4th saint. Like, you surround yourself with love and caring and kindness, you're going to become that too, the embodiment of it.
And you'll find that just like the ugly duckling that you'd never think is going to ever find somebody, guess what? They walk into a room and there's another ugly duckling, and they gravitate to each other.
Yep.
Good people gravitate to good people. And you will find that if you're good at heart and you do the best you can, you will end up surrounding yourself with great people, and they just make you better. And I can tell you, I wasn't always a good person. And today, I'm better than I've ever been, and a lot of it has to do with the people I surround myself with and the wife that I chose. I say wife and life.
Yeah.
My life is my wife and my kids, and now my grandkids. I want to give them as much as I possibly can. And I don't mean I just want them to have the things that I didn't have.
Oh, Dad, I'll get into it later with you, but once you have a kid, or for you grandkids, every action you take at that point is to better their life. Like, is to make their life better. Nothing matters for you anymore.
Yeah.
Like you have little desires, but every action is like, forethought is, what are my kids like? Is it gonna be good for them? Like, I'll do it then.
Right.
Yes.
And if you don't put your wife and your kids before everything else in your decision making, then what you become is selfish, and you're a selfish person. And if you don't think that I don't know that, I was selfish for a long time. And I had dogs, and I put my dogs before everybody. I put my hunting before everybody. I did everything.
Oh, yeah.
It was Ed.
Yeah.
It was Ed. Now, if you were my friend and you called me, I'd drop whatever. But I couldn't drop it for long because I had to get back to them dogs, and I had to get back to the woods, and I had to get back to this. So I was selfish. And once you realize that you can look in the mirror and say, I cannot be selfish, this family means more to me
Yep.
than myself, then all of a sudden it's much easier. Your whole life changes. It becomes much easier because it becomes easier in some respects, and it becomes harder in others because you've got this weight on your shoulders that you got to make sure that you're doing the right thing for them, and that they're going to grow up all right, and they're not going to be on drugs or rehab or in the penitentiary or some bullshit. You got to show by example. You can't, you can't sit there and say, don't do drugs and go to jail, and then you're in the background doing drugs and going to jail.
Don't work.
No. You can't say be nice to people, and then the next time you see somebody on the side of the road, you blow past them and go, "Fuck that guy,"
Yeah.
No, you pull over and see if the guy needs some help.
Mm-hmm.
So
We just did that. We called Nancy.
I seen that.
Yeah, I told Danielle because we saw her. We were late. We were running late.
Imagine that.
We saw. Yeah, imagine that. We pull. We see her high centered in a ditch, and
in her white truck.
In the truck, yeah.
Was she delivering mail?
Yeah, over by where Shannon Phantom lives, and I'm like, Danielle's like, should we stop? I go, yeah, probably, just to check. Whip around. You good? Yeah, Felix is coming. But I was like, are you sure you need anything? She's like, no, I'll be fine. Thank you, though. We whipped it back around. Danielle's like, well, should we offer a ride to town? I was like, Felix
is right there.
2 minutes. But I was like, that's all we could do. I mean, we can't do. I mean, all she's going to do is get a ride to town and come back out here. So
Felix is her brother's brother-in-law. So, I mean, they're family,
So it was like, it's whatever. But then it was nice to see that she said something on Facebook, because I'm just like, that's really random. I didn't even think, like, because growing up, that's what I learned is like, if you, especially around here, if somebody's stuck on the side of the road, just stop real quick and help them.
It doesn't take.
Me and Danielle, sorry, real quick.
No.
This is crazy. Me and Danielle, I think we were on a date night, and we were like, yeah, let's go.
Were you at Applebee's?
No, we were about to go to Applebee's, and then we left our house. We left our house, and we come up 63 towards your guys' place, and we're by the log place, which, for people not listening, it's like a mile from my house, and there's a car broke off on the side of the road, flashing lights and stuff. It's pitch black, and I'm like, Danielle, stop. She's like, what? We're on the highway. I was like, just stop, I'll get out. So I got out. It's like pitch black, and I stopped. Hey, do you need help? No, my buddy's getting gas. It's like, okay, no problem. So I'm just walking with a flashlight in pitch black because Danielle had to keep going up the highway.
Yeah.
So she stopped up at almost Beth Strotman's house, which is, for those people don't know these measurements, it's like a quarter mile. Like, it's about a quarter, like, it's a good walk in the dark with a flashlight on a major highway. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to get hit. But just stuff like that I learned from you guys, like you and Mom. Like, you gotta just help people every now and then if you can.
If you can. And I can tell you this. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice.
Yeah.
Everything that you do when you it comes back 100-fold. So if you treat people nice, the next thing you know, it just seems like things happen. So I used to, when I was living on Jane.
There we go.
Okay.
It's full circle. See?
I was having a good time,
Yeah.
but I wasn't always a good person.
Because you were 18, 19, right?
Yeah, making stupid decisions.
Stupid shit, but
Now,
you're by yourself, right? You live there by yourself.
most of the time. I had some
Yeah.
roommates once in a while, and the thing about it is that my friends were my friends, but if you weren't my friend, I didn't really give jack squat about you. Okay, so I thought, why can't I get a break? Why can't I get a break? This was my theory. Why couldn't I get a break? Everybody else gets a break. Why can't Eddie get a break? I work hard. My friends, I'll beat, you look at my friend wrong, I'll beat your ass. I used to do that. I thought it was fun. You looked at my friend wrong. Why are you looking at my friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, I crack bunch. When he started to say something, I punched him. And I didn't even listen for an answer. I just punched the guy.
Yeah.
So I was stupid. But what I realized is, then so many things happened,
Yeah.
Then,
Well, what happened? You can go down that a little bit if you want.
well, so I was working, like, doing all kinds of, I worked for a window company.
Oh, yeah.
And I was putting in windows, and I was making good money, and I started bumming at a bar. Got old enough. I wasn't old enough when I first got there.
Yeah.
Well, I was bumming in a bar with Dean for a long time. Then I moved back home after several years, and I stayed at home for a little while, and I met a gal at a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm married. It's kind of so no. Let's go. I'll revert back to before I met the girl at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to the bar all the time. I was still with Dean, hanging with Dean a lot.
Right.
And a friend of his said, "Hey, I got a girl I live with. We're going on a float trip. She could use a partner in the canoe. Would you care to go?" So I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Be at our house at 6 o'clock in the morning." They lived over in Jennings, bad neighborhood.
Where the fuck is Jennings?
Oh, man. It's when you go east past the airport.
Yeah.
It's
like in the center. It's in the center.
Yeah. So anyway, I go there. The gal answers the door. She says, "We're not going to leave now till 8 o'clock." And I was there like at 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Right.
I was there at 5:30 because I was supposed to be there at 6. I can't be late.
Yeah.
I'm always early. Anyway, she goes, "Let's just lay back down." We go in the room, and she takes off all her clothes. I'm thinking, score.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
really.
yeah, not really.
Not really. So anyway, long story lead to nothing. I end up moving in with her, or she ends up moving in with me. And then
That seemed.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
yeah. So
Okay.
she's living with me, and she's kind of a partier. And when I say partier, I shouldn't say that, because I was a partier too. But I was going to the bar and drinking beer. She was hanging out with potheads and guys that did more. And I just wasn't into that. I mean, not that I didn't try a little bit of everything, but
this is like the 80s, right?
Yeah.
This is like the 80s. Yeah.
And I didn't, I tried a little bit here and there, but that wasn't my cup of tea.
Right. Yeah. Same.
So, I had enough problems with drinking, so I didn't need to really have another problem.
Right.
And that was going to be a problem. So one evening, it was a Friday night, and I'll never forget this. She said that she was going to a party at such and such's, and she wanted me to come. And I said, hey, I'm going to call a couple buddies and see if they can come. She goes, nah, I don't think that's a good idea because your friends aren't like my friends. Well, what she meant was her friends were all stoners and my friends were all fucking
Drinkers,
hillbillies.
right? Yeah, hillbilly drinkers.
Yeah. I mean, they lived in the city, but they thought they was fucking
Yeah,
redneck,
see,
dude.
I was gonna ask you about that. It's crazy because like here now, I'm like, man, I beat the fuck out of people. They come out like if anyone came out here in the parties we had, even in my 20s, and they're like wearing cowboy hats and shit, and they said they were from like Hazelwood or
Yeah.
fucking Columbia. I'd be like, get that
Oh,
shit
yeah.
off, you jackass! Like,
Yeah, well, we bummed at this bar, and it's a cowboy bar, so
Yeah.
everybody had cowboy hats but us. We had baseball hats, we had boots on, and when I say boots, everybody had cowboy boots.
they were like shit kickers.
We had work
or-
boots.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we were real workers.
right.
You know,
But these other guys were fancied up and shit, right?
Yeah,
They're
we-
all wearing the nice
Yeah.
fancy hats
we
and
wore
shit.
a fucking work jeans and fucking a button down
Yeah,
shirt
yeah.
and it probably had blood stains from the weekend before because we fucking beat somebody else's ass. So we fought a lot, and so anyway, we're in the bar that night, and I used to make bets with guys. With girls would come in, and I'd say, "I bet I can dance with her, and get her to dance with me."
Yeah.
And this gal came in, and I said, "I bet," and they said, "There ain't no fucking way you're gonna dance with her."
Yeah.
She had already turned 3 guys away, and so I said, "All right, I'm going." So I walked over there, and I did exactly what they do in the movies. I walked over there and said, "You got to dance with me because these 3 motherfuckers over here all bet me." And I says,
I gotta win.
I'll buy your drinks the rest of the night. You just get your ass up and start dancing." She laughed her ass off, got up, and we danced. I brought her to Vienna that night and spent 4 days here. And
Wow.
then I ended up marrying her about 4 months later.
Holy shit.
So are you kind of learning some stuff about me now?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was deep.
So that's not the same girl as the one that was the party girl?
No, when I came home from Vienna, I broke up with her and told her to get out of my house. And she said that she wouldn't. So then I had to move all my stuff out and move back to my mom and dad's until I got married.
Okay.
Because as an asshole as I was being to her,
Yeah.
I also wasn't going to just throw her out on the curb.
Right. Oh, because she didn't have a place to... Okay.
No, she didn't really have a place to go.
So what about the one before, though? You were talking about that was like a stoner. Her friends
That's
were
her.
stoners.
That was her.
Same girl. Oh,
No,
that's how you met her. Okay,
Right.
okay.
I met her the
I'm
night
like, you
that-
weren't married twice before?
No.
Okay, okay.
The night that she went to that party, I said, I think I'll just go up to the bar and hang out then. I went up to the bar, hung out, ended up going to Vienna, stayed there till Monday night, went home, and then told her that it was over. And
it wasn't.
4 months later, I married the gal I met at the bar.
Oh, jeez.
And I stayed married to her for a year.
I wanted to ask, this is a side note for Eddie Lake, but the dancing, where'd you learn it from?
My parents.
They danced a lot too, right?
They were great dancers.
Yeah.
And I watched them and watched them and watched them.
Yeah.
And then I danced with the famous Chuck Berry. I danced with him with 2 gals.
You danced with Chuck Berry?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And nobody else. That was just me and him and 2 gals on a dance floor all night. Yes, sir.
What the fuck? That's awesome.
Yeah. I got to see I got to meet a lot of people dancing. One time, I'll tell you a story. Here's a new one. You never heard this one before, I'll bet. They have a fair, or they used to have a fair up in St. Louis on the 4th of July at the Arch called, Tam, what was that fair called?
Uh-oh. At the Yards?
No, at the Arch.
Oh, at the Arch.
It was
World's Fair.
No, it's 4th of July.
Oh, it's like a spectacular or some shit, or
Anyway, it was a good time.
yeah.
What was it? Veil Prophet Parade, and so I was in the parade the year before I met Dean. I was roller skating all through the whole parade. I had a costume on. I could do the splits on roller skates. And, I was a dancer on skates. I could roll.
On the boogie man, on the boogie
I did
man.
it. They played that song. That's exactly the kind of music they played, and I could dance to it.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
awesome.
Yep. And then the year I met Dean, we went down there with a keg and we strapped it with bungee straps on a 2-wheeler and brought it to the lawn above the arch, and they had a band down there, and it was I guess back then they called it rhythm and blues. They didn't call it
it was like a blues
rap.
band.
They didn't call it rap.
Oh.
It was.
These are the breaks.
Well,
yeah, it's stuff like that. The early hip hop. Yeah,
it was early hip hop, and I was dressed pretty nice, and I went down there and started dancing,
yeah.
and I attracted such a big crowd that Dean took a hat off and
Put
went
it on the
around
ground?
and collected. No, he went around in a circle over and over, and he collected enough money that we went and bought another keg of beer.
Early entrepreneurship.
Always
Good.
looking to make
Always,
a buck.
Yeah, always
looking
be
to
selling.
make a buck.
Yeah.
Dean, honestly, somebody has pictures of that.
Yeah.
But Debbie, his first wife, might have pictures. She was there. There was
Pretty sick though.
it was fun. It
Yeah.
was fun. I could dance, and I love dancing. And then, dancing. The funny thing about dancing is, you can be not near as attractive and dance and pick up girls, but you can be the best looking guy
Oh,
and sit.
I'm
on
well
the-
aware of that.
and sit
The
like
world
a,
has not changed.
and sit like a
Yeah.
like a rock, and girls will just they would much rather be active and want to dance with you.
Yeah.
They
I
wanna-
even think when I was in high school, people were not obsessed with it, but like we have field parties, and I would dance with some girls, and like it wouldn't be nothing like trying to get with you, but it'd be like, I just want to dance. And then all the girls would be like, oh, that's cool. Like, how did you learn to do that and stuff? And like, I watched my parents and stuff, but like all these other guys, it just seemed like they were too turned off to it to dance or whatever. But I was always like, what? People love this shit. They've been doing it for thousands of years. Who gives a shit?
Right. And I'll tell you another thing. So if you go to a place you've never been before, let's just say me and you, we walk in a place and you're the guy that can't talk to nobody and I'm the guy that can. I've never met a stranger. Okay? I got a friend like that. And I'm not going to mention his name tonight, but we went out a lot.
Yeah.
And he would constantly say, Ed, go over there and talk. Because a lot of girls and a lot of guys like to go with another person.
Right.
So they'd have two girls, and he'd say, go over there and talk to them, get them to come over and sit with us. He could never pick a girl on his own. He always had to have help.
Oh.
And it drove me crazy.
He wanted
because
you to decide who you were going to
I was
go
his-
for.
I was his wingman.
Yeah.
I was
But
constantly.
he's making you take over, like switch seats with me real quick.
I danced
yeah.
in places that no
Yeah.
one allowed dancing at all. Like they'd have a one-man band, not expecting anybody to dance.
Yeah.
Ground Round in Bridgeton, Missouri.
Ground Round.
Yeah, it was a restaurant.
The restaurant.
Yeah.
I remember Ground Round.
So this restaurant had like this stage, and a friend of ours that still
Let's go dance at McDonald's. What the fuck?
He goes to wineries now and sings and sings and plays guitar.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And anyway, he we'd go and see him all the time, we knew him kind of, and we had a blast.
Yeah.
But we'd eat, we'd drink some beer, and I'd start asking girls to dance. And they go, we can't dance, there's no dance floor. I go, we'll make a dance floor. We push chairs out and tables out, and we made dance floor. One time at Ground Round, we went there. I was 19, and my buddy Sean was 21.
Oh, okay.
It's a good story.
Yeah,
You'll like this
yeah.
one. So we get there, and I also had a good relationship with police because I worked at a roller skating rink and a gas station and a 7-Eleven, and so those guys would come in late at night. I worked late shift. They would come in late at night. I'd always give them whatever they wanted. And
I'm just thinking like they're coming to the skating rink.
They came to the skating rink.
Trying to
They came
skate.
to- they
Can I
know
get-
that-
can
no,
I get
they-
a free set of tens.
They'd come to the skating rink because we'd have fights or because we
Oh,
had,
yeah.
or we'd have a wreck or what. Anyway,
Yeah.
I knew most of them, and I got 100 stories about police officers that are friends of mine. But anyway, this time, we're in the ground round. With this lady comes up and takes our order, and she says, "I need to see your ID." And I said, last night I got a ticket, and I put the ticket. All I had was a ticket. They kept my license, and I got my ticket up on my dresser, and I didn't bring it. I didn't think I needed it. I'm in here all the time. I said, "Could you talk to the manager?" I said, "I know the manager very well," and she says, "I'm not talking to the manager because I am your waitress." She says, "And if you don't have an ID, you're not getting served." And I said, "Well, that's bullshit." And the table next to us, there
And you're
was
like
a
19, right?
I
You
was
said
19
IT?
years old, and there was a sergeant on the Bridgeton Police Department, and he walked over and he flashed his badge to her, and he says, "Is there anything I can help you with?" And she said, "Well, he's getting upset because he doesn't have an ID." And I said, "Hey, Bill," and I said, I got pulled over last night. I left it. I said, he took my driver's license and I said, I got a ticket, but I left it on my dresser. And he goes, "I'll vouch for Ed. I know him. He's 21. Is there a problem?" She goes, "Nope. If you'll vouch for him, no problem." So they left. Him and his wife left. They were just getting done with their dinner. They left, and I thanked him. And actually, I bought his dinner. And Sean looks at me and goes, "You're the only motherfucker that can
Gets
get
a
a cop
to
to
vouch
vouch
for-
for you when you're 19, that you're 21." But that kind of went a long ways. I got pulled over one time. I got stopped at a stoplight. I may or may not have fell asleep
Wait,
at 2:00 in the morning with an 8-pack of ponies next to me.
fucking God.
So the police
In the
officer
passenger seat?
in the passenger seat, and so the police officer had took my license and registration and went back to run it. And while he was running it, another police officer went by that I knew. He did a U-turn. He pulled up behind him. He got my license, got my registration, came up, handed it to me, goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I go, "I'm going to the skating rink." He goes, "Drunk?" And I go, "Well, I can't go home. I'm really it's fucked up story." And he goes, "All right, I'm following you to the roller skating rink." He followed me to the roller skating rink, and to this day, Bridgeton Police would be fucking flabbergasted if any of this. I opened the door because I was assistant manager at that time. I opened the door. We walked in with the ponies, with this 8-pack of ponies.
Yeah.
He helped me drink them, and then he told me
The cop?
Yeah.
The fucking cop.
And he said, "Don't leave until fucking daylight. You hear me? Do not come out of this door."
Oh, man.
So he helped me drink an 8-pack of ponies.
Do you... That's like all... It's awesome.
I used to drink from Marys County.
Yeah?
There was a cop here.
This is way back.
This is
right?
way back. I will not tell you his name because
Yeah. He might still...
he still lives in Marys County,
Yeah.
and he's still a friend of mine.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hurt his feelings
Yeah.
by saying I'm snitching on him. But we used to drink beer once in a while on duty.
I always wonder, I'm like...
And I was living in the city. It was just like when I would come down for the weekend. Can you hand me one of those paper towels? I'm gonna
Oh, yeah.
wipe up a little ice. Melt.
I think it's entertaining, and it's also interesting because it's like, I mean, that would never happen today.
There's a trash can behind you. You can throw them empties in.
Oh yeah, I guess I could put them in there instead of on the table.
Yeah, they're starting to add up.
No, we're back at 0 now. We're good.
There you go.
I think it's interesting just because like those stories are so entertaining, and it's good because it's like it was just like you were in that situation, you dealt with that, but like you were also like, it was harmless fun at that point. You weren't trying to be malevolent or anything, and those guys were willing to help you out, as opposed to now it's a very hard line in the sand of, if you do this, you're fucked. If you do this, you're fucked. It's like it doesn't need to be that way, you know, all the time, every time. But I'm solving problems at a table in Marys County, you know, like world problems. But like I just wish more people were open to like being a little more less stringent on having to follow through with like that ruin a person's life on stuff. You know, I wish there were other ways to fix it.
Well, I was blessed. I had a lot of police officers that were friends of mine. I'll tell you one more story about Sean and me and Ground Round. Left there.
Why the fuck are we going back to Ground Round?
Because
Jesus Christ,
we went there
It was not a good restaurant.
No, it was. We had steak every time we went. We'd have steak or we'd have shrimp and or hot wings. And so this time it was hot wings and beer, and we were drinking, and Sean was having a moment. I don't really remember what the deal was, but he was having a moment, so he was drinking more than me. That didn't happen very often, but this time it did, and he was trashed. Yeah. And we started to leave, and he said, "Ed, I can't drive." So I started to drive, and he had a Mustang. We were going to Jane Avenue. And
this is obviously like this is in the 80s, but this is
80,
like
this is 85.
85 Mustang?
No. This was 80. Oh, shit. This might have been 82 or 83. And it was
but he had
80 Mustang with T-tops.
Oh, God.
And it was white. And we had the T-tops off. And we were headed down St. Charles Rock Road.
That's an ugly-ass car, though, isn't it?
And no, it was all right.
Boxy,
it was cool.
Right? Wasn't the boxy? It was boxy. It was cool back then.
It was cool. And he said, "Pull over, please." And I knew he had to pull over. And at the time, it was I pulled over in front of a old farmhouse that sat in front of what is now the Paul Hospital. But there used to be an old farmhouse that sat close to the highway, or St. Charles Rock Road. Anyway, he's puking, and a Bridgeton police officer pulls over, and I didn't know this one.
It's always Bridgeton police officers.
And this one didn't know me. And he goes, what's going on, young man? I go, my buddy's having a little problem with his stomach right now. And Sean said, what did he say? And the officer said, I said, what is your buddy doing over there? And Sean said, so-and-so? And he said, yeah. And he said they were in the Marine Corps together. They were in reserves. And so the cop...
So you're a Marine now.
Yeah,
you're a Marine.
I wasn't, but my buddy was, and the cop was. So they said...
Yeah.
He looked at me and he goes, it looks like you need to get his ass to the house. I said, we're headed to Jane Avenue off the Rock Road. And he goes, yeah, I know where it's at, in St. Anne's. I go, yeah. He goes, go there as quick as you can. Just be careful. And that was it. I mean, I drove on, you know.
Jesus.
But he was trashed. I mean,
it's what happens, you know.
What my uncle. Go ahead.
No, you
want to hear one more story?
Yeah, I'll hear one more. Yeah,
right.
I'll hear one more.
Here's a Bridgeton story.
Okay.
Thank you, Bridgeton police officer.
Are we at Ground Round again?
I got two more. And I just got to tell you.
And
all right, two
more.
All right.
Both have Bridgeton police. One has Ground Round.
All right. No, neither one. Well, yes, it does. All right. So anyway, the first one was I was working at 7-Eleven, and I was going to a party. And because I would work there, what I would do, I was underage, but I would wait till after midnight. I would buy all the liquor, put the money in the register, put the beer in my truck, and then next night I was going to go to this party. And as young people are stupid, as I was turning off of the Rock Road onto Highway 270, I ran out of fuel.
From the Rock Road to 270?
I was going down the Rock Road and turned on 270.
And you ran? How'd you not notice?
On the ramp. I didn't know.
How'd you not notice?
I don't. Hey. Listen.
Did they have lights?
It was
back
a
then?
1958 Ford pickup truck. Okay. Give me a
Jesus.
break.
Yeah.
Bridgeton police officer, a woman. Never been pulled over by a woman before. She says, "Can I help you?" And I go, I ran out of gas.
I'm just picturing Ed Lake at the
I had the
pulled
hood
over.
open, and I was looking. I was thinking it was something else.
Yeah.
And she goes, "No, let me." I walked back to her, and I was trying to talk to her. I might have had one or two, already. And she said, "Well, let me go up here and try to help you." And I no, you don't have to help me. And she looked over, and the passenger side from the gear shift
ponies,
all the way over was full.
it's all
of
the beer, right?
Beer
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whiskey and everything.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Young man, where are you going?" I said, "Well, I'm taking this to a party for my mom and dad." And she said, "Well," she said, "I can't let you drive with that amount of alcohol in their car. There's a lot of alcohol." And she said, "You're underage." And she said, "So why don't you jump in the car with me, and I'm going to take you back to the station, and you just call somebody to come get you." I said, "Okay." So I thought, I'll get somebody to come get me. No problem. We'll get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
She gets on the highway, and she has to, because she's already on the ramp, and she says, "How fast have you ever been in a police car?" I said, "I don't know." She goes, "Let's go 100. And we drive about 100 miles an hour up to where Grandpa's exit was. And we turned around and came back. And she gets me to the police station. She says, "Go ahead and try to make some phone calls." I called every fucking person I knew. Everybody was at that party. Everybody waiting on me. No one would answer.
No one could answer.
No one wanted to answer the phone. They thought it was the mom and dad of the person that had the party.
Yeah.
So I called my dad. I said, "Can you come get me at Bridgeton Police Department?" He said, "What?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm not arrested, but I need a ride." "Yeah." So we got a can of gas. I said, "Bring a can of gas," and my truck's out of gas. We get to the truck. He does the same fucking thing the cop did. He looks in the passenger seat window and goes,
yeah.
"What the fuck?"
You're like, "I'm going to a party, though." You
And-
explained it, right?
Oh yeah, and he said, "Let's go home." So I had to go home.
But you're at the car. Why didn't you just... Okay, yeah. Yeah.
What? Yeah.
No,
I run from my dad.
I was like,
Run.
just drive away.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
yeah. My dad would have bumped me. He did one of them police bumps
I
into my
know.
ass in and turned me sideways.
Yeah.
And then it would have been a shit show.
Jesus.
Oh, I had enough shit shows with him. I didn't need another one.
Right.
Okay, so that's one.
Yeah.
Now I got another one that involves him. My Uncle Richard passes. He's working on a big refrigeration unit on St. Charles Rock Road, right down the road, and commercial. And anyway,
My mom is in the background. I just want to point that out. Tammy Lake is proctoring this.
yeah, I haven't heard her much, but
Yeah, she'll come on later. Don't worry. We'll have quite ground
so,
round.
but it goes. So we're all going to meet at Ground Round. Me, Dad, Eddie Karsh, and Sean. We're gonna
Okay.
just to kind of have a celebration of life for my uncle.
Yeah.
So we go there and we eat dinner, have a nice steak dinner, and my uncle Mike,
Richard. Who's Richard though?
Kenny's dad,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and so we go there and we get started drinking, and then we're all going to get in Eddie's van. We left all the cars there, and we get in Eddie's van and drive to the London pub where my uncle was a bartender.
Okay.
And we get fucking smashed.
Yeah.
We get back to the Ground Round, and my dad tells me I'm too drunk to drive, so he'll drive my 58, which I drove him there.
Yeah.
He'll drive my 58 back home.
Which I want to point out to listeners, a lot of these kids are young, I think, or they're my age, but they live in the city, or they're younger. A 58 Ford, I imagine, doesn't have power steering, no power windows, no power locks, and
No air.
no air, and you're riding on bricks. Basically, these tires are shit. Like they're
Wheel pops.
Yeah,
There's May pops
yeah.
and wheel pops. These were wheel
Yeah.
pops.
So when you drive it, it's like driving a fucking tractor.
Oh yeah.
And it's and I bet it's probably
Oh, but it looked
Is it
cool.
rear wheel drive though?
No, a rear wheel drive.
And you got to turn into, you got to press the fucking gas with a clutch when you're going into the fucking turns, it's a nightmare.
I love that truck. I painted it.
Yeah, but it was badass.
Yeah,
though.
I painted
badass.
it. Oh, yeah, it was
badass.
Oh, yeah. I love that truck. Anyway,
Yeah, sorry,
I
just
sold
side note
it
on the
and bought
truck.
it back once because I loved it so much. But anyway, he's driving, and we're going down St. Charles Rock Road. Almost get to McKelvey. There's a light in a turn lane, except that the whole right side is still at farm field.
Okay.
He decides that he needs to make a right-hand turn about 150 yards before the turn lane.
I know a shortcut.
And he makes the right, goes across the fucking field, goes over the fucking curb onto the fucking road as a Bridgeton cop comes down that I know. I look at him and I just raise my hands up in the air like, I don't know. And he just shakes his head and just keeps going.
Jesus.
He never fucking turned around. My dad fucking drove home.
I wonder if they know that.
Oh, my God,
Christ.
dude.
You think they knew the truck?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They knew me.
Yeah.
Dude, that
was
the
later
only,
on, like
it was
2021 or whatever, yeah.
No.
Yeah, you said it was later on, like when they knew y'all, right?
This was in 1984.
Yeah, so you're like 20.
Yeah, I was 20.
20.
Yeah, I was 20.
Solid line 20.
I was solid 20.
Jesus
I was solid
and
20.
it's all the alcohol, liquor,
I was solid
and the
20.
truck, and the,
Oh, yeah.
oh my God.
But all my cops were friends.
Right,
All
right.
the cops were friends. And many, many times, like, oh, okay, another story.
Here, hold on. Let
Okay.
me take one break,
Yep.
and then we'll get right back into it, okay? Thanks, guys. All right, y'all. Back from the break. Once again, Dad was telling us tales out of school, but I will just pick up kind of where we left off. It was about in mid-20s. You know, you got married. Kind of just go over that real quick. You don't have to go
Yeah.
deep or anything, but just what
No,
went down.
I was,
you know.
I was big coon hunter. I loved coon hunting.
Yeah.
And this,
I'm
this
sorry.
girl,
Before we go down it, I'm sorry. Coon hunting, people really don't know about it outside of here, especially my listeners. I know it's a lot of military guys. Coon hunting, raccoons, right?
Yep.
You're running dogs, which is coon dogs, right? Blue ticks, walkers,
tans.
healers, black and tans, red bone. Anything else? Those
No,
are
you're
the main
good.
breeds.
You got it.
Right? You take them dogs, they grow up running coons, right, all over, which Dad, you know, he's in the Ozark Mountains, which is a hard-ass spot to hunt because it's little hills where dogs get lost real easy. And they have trackers and shit, but it's hard. You normally go off the sound of them, especially back in the day, you go off the ball, which is BAWL. Look it up. It's badass. Now, my dad... before he goes into this shit, I would say, and I think my mom can give me a head shake to it, my dad in his tenure as a coon hunter was regionally known very well as a solid breeder as well as a hunter. Right, Mom? Yeah.
And trainer.
And my mom is really good
And-
at sarcasm, so it really helps when she does this. No, and my dad trained him. He even taught me. He taught me about how you take that little skin or a little one, like you cut it off, you drag it, you set it out somewhere, you set a treat under it, some shit. You go after it, or teach them to go after that shit. But it's a very hard skill. It's probably not even known that well in the U.S. anymore. I don't think it is because coon skins go for very little right now. But it's a niche that most people don't know about. But if you ever look at, like, I would encourage everyone, if they're listening at this point, because we've been on for a while. But if you're listening, go look up. You could probably look up fucking Ed Lake coon dog on Google, and pictures will pop up. But if not, just look up at a presentation of a coon dog, and you'll see these beautiful dogs that are held up, and they're gorgeous, and they're trained to just hunt. It's like I don't know. I'm not gonna. I'm done diving deep, Dad. I
Yeah,
just wanted.
I know,
I just wanted to
because
show
we-
it's
we
it's,
get
a, it's a
deep,
niche.
deep,
It's a
deep.
niche. Yeah.
I love my dogs. I've coon hunted since I was a very, very young man. I learned from a man out here, and I would have to come out here and walk from my farmhouse to his house, which through the timber is a half a mile.
Dave James.
No, Dave James's dad, Marvin, and Marvin had a dog. He was a true die-in-the-wool Democrat, and his dog name was Truman. He was a big old blue tick, and he taught me many things, and I can tell you that we would go, and it was just so amazing that how I was just amazed how a dog would take and go through the woods and pick up a scent, and then they would bawl a track. And when I say bawl, they would make a long bark, bow, while they were trailing. And then when they got to the tree, they would make a chop, yow, 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 and it would change. So that interested me so much that from the time I was about 14 to the time I was, I don't remember when I sold my last coon dog, but
It had to be late 30s, early 40s, right?
oh yeah. Well, I had kids, and I was raising whitetail deer, and I had a big whitetail deer farm. And I was trying to do that, selling deer urine all over the United States, and I just couldn't do the dogs justice. And my wife will tell you that it's a sad. There's something inbred in me that if I can't do a dog justice, I'll get rid of it. I just will not keep a dog that I can't hunt. If I can't hunt it, I don't really want to keep it tied up because because my dogs, if you ever turned them loose, they were gone. I've got beagle dogs now because I do hunt rabbits still. And I turned them loose the other morning, and they ran a rabbit in front of me 3 times. And then later on in the afternoon, they came home, and I love them to death. But it's just, I wish I could hunt them every day. I love hunting dogs. I still love hunting dogs.
I think it's exhilarating watching a dog go after an animal.
Mm-hmm.
Like Pete is gonna kill me. It's insane watching a dog go after something it wants to kill or wants to eat, for its family and bring it back. But but then you train it to hunt for you to where it circles it back and shit. Duke, today we have chickens. Duke, I'll go get him. And he'll circle them around back to the pen. He ain't good at it. He sucks at it yet. But he's getting better at it every week. He's getting better at circling them back in to where they almost go in perfectly. And it's almost like a sheepdog esque type thing. It's cool.
My grandma and grandpa at one time here, my dad said, had over 20 dogs at one time. My grandma.
What the fuck do you do with 20 dogs?
And they were all mixed.
The Bumpuses. It's like a Christmas story. Remember the Bumpuses dogs? They're all going through the fucking house.
These weren't hounds. These were.
But they were hunting dogs, probably.
No,
right?
no, they really weren't. They were herding dogs, and then they were just most of them were
they're like
Heinz
medium
50,
size though.
Heinz 57, and they would eat anything that you threw out there to them because she always fed them scraps. She didn't buy no dog food. My nana was some kind of woman, and. So my dad's first coon dog, only coon dog in his life, and he talked about it forever, and it kind of made me want to get a coon dog, was a red bone, and he traded a Osage orange longbow to Lloyd Haunts for a red bone coon dog.
Yeah.
And Lloyd was about 10, and Dad was about 8.
Yeah.
And
so Grandpa loved that dog, probably.
That dog would run. He treed coons, and he treed possums, and he treed. He'd even tree a bobcat.
Yeah.
And he would tree mink on the river. and my dad, I mean,
How do you treat mink if they're out, I guess?
they got to
He
be
found
out,
them on
and
the-
then
on the-
right, and then
yeah.
they run up a branch, and then they just kind of stay there.
Sit there.
But the problem is he got ate up in a cave down at Dave James's. There's a cave just before Dave James's,
Yep.
and there was a bobcat in it, or a cougar. We don't really know back then. Back then, they said there wasn't cougars in Missouri.
Right.
But anyway, he got ate up. Dad stitched him up by hand and put him in the wood behind the wood stove at my grandma's farmhouse, and he stayed there. And when he got healed up, he would hunt in the early morning and in the late evening, but he did not hunt at night. He would not hunt at night no more.
You think that's when he got injured or something?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's what it was.
That sucks, though.
Yeah. So,
What a good dog. Always the good dogs that get fucked up, you know?
Oh yeah, I've had some good ones. Dude.
I've had some good ones. I mean, nowhere near as many as you, but I've had good fucking dogs that I loved. I remember, I'll tell one story. I remember me and Danielle just got married, and she wanted a dog because she had a cat, and I killed that cat, or I don't know if I killed it or I got rid of it, but she was like 8 months pregnant. It was scratching her fucking belly, and you're not supposed to have cats around pregnant women anyway. So I was like, well, fuck this. So I got rid of it. And then, had the baby. She wanted a dog. And I was like, she got one. It didn't work out. She gave it back. And then I was like, I want a coon dog. There was a coon dog for sale for $20 or $40 rehoming fee. And I was like, fuck yeah, Daniel, you're going to love this dude. And it's Washington State in the middle of Tacoma, Washington, which Tacoma is probably as big as Jeff City or bigger. And we're in the third floor of concrete apartments, and it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. And we got a big old full-bred coon dog up there. and it's bawling and shit. And I told Danielle I was going to the bar. I was like, hey, honey, I'm going to the bar. I'll be back in a little bit. She goes, Ben, it's fucking mean. I go, no, he's not. He's a good dog. He's just, he's a lot of energy. I left. This is 2 hours later. Ben, put this fucking dog down. I was like, Danielle, I can't put the dog down. I come home. The bar was like 2 miles from my house, so I run back.
Did you leave your pregnant wife at home with a coon dog?
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
All I'm going to say is
I don't want to hear it.
All I'm going to say is you're a lake.
And
that's all I'm going to say.
And I come home and he's barking and bawling and shit. And I'm
You
like,
are my son.
Well, fuck, I can't keep this dude. So I sold him to like some guy that was in the country that had other coon dogs.
Yeah.
And he was like, good dog though. But I've had rescues that were awesome too.
Rescue. There's nothing wrong with the rescue dogs.
Well, Duke, and then I had Ari before.
Yeah.
And then we had the other one. I don't know what I'm not gonna bring that up. I don't know what happened to that dog. I'll cut that out. But dogs, like, there's something. It's crazy because you have an idea of a dog as like a mechanical tool almost. Some of the time.
No. So
wouldn't you say?
So let me explain this because me and Mom talked about this many times. I personally have only owned dogs that do. I really haven't had a pet until we had the brown lab, the chocolate lab. Yeah, we had a.
What
chocolate
about Ruby?
Lab. She was a coon dog.
Until
I didn't
the
have,
last 5 years.
No.
I
I don't care how what they do the last. What, babe?
Yellow dog.
All right. Anyway,
That's why.
So the bottom line is, I don't have pets because they don't stay around here very long.
Yeah.
Because I just don't like pets. You get attached to them, and then you can't go nowhere because you love your pet and blah 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 blah.
Well,
blah.
let's jump into something then. So you did, you had the marriage stuff. But at that point, were you still in the? I'm trying to get to a certain point of, because I want people to know about your jobs too, because you had so many interesting jobs, Dad.
Yeah.
when you got married and stuff to that point at the end of the marriage, what were you doing? Was it the
Well-
window stuff still?
Well, what I did was my first wife wanted to move down to her hometown, kind of unexpectedly, but there we had some difficulties, and so I said, sure, let's go. I'm a giver. So
She lived down in Houston,
no, she lived in Crothersville.
Crothersville.
And we went down to Crothersville. I went down there and started a business called Quality Storm Door and Window. Went to the local restaurant in the morning where all the construction workers went, met with the painters, met with the guys that did formations.
Oh, you're
and
meeting all the contractors that do.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So-
because that's crazy because you couldn't do the fucking advertisement you do now.
Right.
So you got to link up. You got to network.
Well, I've got pictures up in that upstairs room in the farmhouse. There's I advertised every week in the newspaper, every week.
In
Every week.
Crothersville?
In
or?
Crothersville.
Yeah.
And there was a local paper.
Where's Crothersville at?
Southeast Missouri? It's down the Boot Heel.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. By Gerardo or?
I was 5 minutes from Dyersburg, Tennessee. I went across the
okay,
bridge.
right at the border.
Boom. I was there. Loved it. She moved down with me. Things didn't work out. I went into a local Piggly Wiggly to get my sandwich at lunch,
Yeah.
and I went to the lady to cash out in the front, and she said, "Did you talk to Bill or Bob or whatever his fucking name was back there?" And I go, "No." And I said, "I must be eating lunch." And she says, "He really needs to talk to you, Ed." And I said, I'm back there. And he kind of explained to me that my truck was in a place it shouldn't have been, and it was locked. And so, or what? He didn't say locked. He said it was in a place it shouldn't have been. I went and checked, and it was there. I checked it, and my key fit, and it opened it. And so I knew that it was in a place it shouldn't have been. So I didn't worry about it. I went back to work. And that evening, I came home, and I said to her that, hey, what was my truck doing on the other side of the levee? And she said it wasn't. And she said, I was at so-and-so's house. I asked her what she was doing first, and she said she was at so-and-so's house. And I said, what was my truck doing across the levee? And she said, nothing. And she said it wasn't there. And I go, yeah, it was. I unlocked it and then locked it back. And I go, it was my truck. Anyway, long story short.
How old are you at this point? 25?
22.
22?
22, 23.
Okay.
20, yeah.
Shit.
What? 24, 25.
That's what I
don't
thought
know.
it was 25.
You know what? Be honest.
It don't
with
matter.
you.
I'm not trying
be
to
honest with
particular.
you.
I'm not trying to be particular.
No.
I'm not trying to be particular.
Yeah, because
I'm trying to figure out. I'm like,
all those years were blurry because of
Right.
two things. One, I don't want to remember, and
Yes.
two, I was drinking quite a bit.
right, but you know what? Me and my friends talk about this too. You know, right now, to me, from, you know, whenever to about 10 or 12 is very blurry to me. Really, about to 14 is blurry at this point. And I don't know if that's old age or what, but it's like I really don't remember a lot of it, and I feel like when you get older, you really don't remember a lot of it. You have faint memories, or people can trigger it.
Well, the more leather you have on your ass, the less you remember. So you probably had a lot of leather on your ass getting whippings, and therefore you forgot quite a bit.
No.
Oh, that's right. I didn't whip you.
Oh, right. You didn't. Yeah, I just have yardstick on my ass.
Yeah, but that was your mother.
Yeah.
What my favorite line was,
Mom's going to
not
really love
mad.
this rebuttal.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Right.
But
No, but
you don't probably want the listeners to know this, but I could look at you and say, I was so disappointed in you today, and you would get really upset.
I'm already getting really mad right now.
You weren't.
Yeah. Mom's doing the bow thing where you me. I use it now as a drill sergeant. I don't even tell people, scream in their faces. I tell them, I'm disappointed in you. And you see the blood drain from their face,
Absolutely.
which is great. So, like, I don't know. To get back,
go back to the coon dogs.
Because
where are we gonna
that
go
was
from there?
I just wanted to point out because like this is up to your 25. You know, that's a lot of shit to deal with like in your past. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say you're 24. I'll give you a year. Okay.
All right.
You're 24. You're bachelor.
Yeah.
You got coon dogs.
Yeah.
You got a 7-Eleven job.
No.
And what were you doing at that point? The storm. Well, the storm thing. But did that take off? You moved back to St. Louis or what?
I was killing it down there.
Killing it.
Yeah. I had business. I recruited my brother-in-law. I recruited my brother to come down and help. We were doing churches, big homes.
Okay. Is this storm doors and windows?
No, storm doors,
windows.
I had all of the Section 8 housing, the federal government.
Yeah,
I
you had all of
them.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I had it all. And it was it was awesome. So when I decided to come home, I called my what we always do. We call our mom or dad. We say, I need you. And
I've never done that, but yeah.
I need you tomorrow to be down here with your pickup truck. I got a pickup truck. I got a trailer. We're going to load this fucking house up, and we're going to move back. And I moved back home.
Right.
And so I moved home. And then my dad's best friend, who I was named after, Eddie Karsh, came over one time, and I was in a very, very depression. I was deep in depression. And he came over and talked to me. My dad couldn't talk to me. My mom couldn't talk to me. They couldn't get through to me. And Eddie sat down with me and he said, I've been there. I lost a wife. My dad had never lost a wife. Eddie lost a really, really...
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Okay. And he said...
if I could I just want to point out to everyone, if I could interview someone that passed that I knew well, it'd be Eddie Karsh, because he had every story in the goddamn book.
He was the bomb.
He was the man.
He was the man. And he was my second dad. And he said, read the Bible. So I sat down.
That's all he said when you were that fucking sad?
No. He said a lot more.
I mean, he said a whole lot more. But that was his big emphasis, was read the Bible?
The focus I got out of it was read the Bible and you'll get through it.
He was such a big Bible pusher, and it's not in a bad way. It's just like...
you never seen it coming.
No,
he had a way of saying it, and you never felt like he was one of those Bible-thumping mofos. He was just the guy. So he gave me a Bible.
Yeah.
And he signed it. I still have it today. And I read it, and I read it, and I read it, and then... I went just the opposite of what it said. I started going to the same bar that I met her at. And I started hanging out with a group of guys that we called Cowboy Corner.
Cowboys.
It's the same group. I'm friends with all of them today. Some of them I don't see very often. Some of them I see quite a bit. But
is there any names that might listen or that I would know?
Oh, yeah. Scott Bierbauer, Randy Henry.
Shit.
Danny Hinkle, Kurt Ollendorf, Matt Tillman that came with his wife this year to the party.
Yeah.
We were all hanging out. We got the table right next to the girls' bathroom. That way we could see every girl that came in. Every girl that comes to a bar has to go to the bathroom. So we had the round table right next to the bar, the bathroom. Anyway, long story short, I kind of burned some bridges for a little bit. I tried some, I don't know if you want to call them, I don't know. I don't know what you want to call it.
Do you think you were just angry at that point?
Yes.
You're 20. Yeah. I mean, you're 25.
So
whatever.
I really liked being married. I'm not going to say I didn't. I really liked being married.
Yeah, but I think me, you, Brett, and both our grandpas were married for their lives. I think. I don't know about Abishan, but they're married all their life, right?
All our life.
Okay. You that hiccup, but then obviously the rest is history. Okay, but then me, we'll see where this takes us. No,
Hey,
no, but I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I just want to point this out though, but I will point out too. When I was younger, I yearned for a relationship, but I never had it. I had very short relationship. Like, it's the same shit as you.
You were kind of a man whore. Let's be honest.
Man whore.
Let's fucking be honest.
Let's put the shit on the table, Dad. You were the fucking man whore, okay?
Okay.
I was moderate.
Yeah, man.
I was
You're
moderate to liberal.
You're
I was moderate to liberal.
You're a moderate man whore.
I was,
blah, 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 blah.
But Brett, what about Brett?
Found one and stayed with her the rest of his life. I hope. Now,
Supposedly.
okay, so no, he
Not
had
with
some,
her.
No,
I'm
no,
not
no,
shit on
no,
that.
No,
I meant before.
But before, right?
I meant before.
No. He had several. He
He
used
didn't
to
really
tell
have
me,
that many though. I was the only one that really like dated around.
You dated. He didn't date, but he shebanged. That's
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No, he did not.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't. Guys, you can ask some of my friends. No, he didn't.
Your friends, he didn't shebang.
Okay.
Guess
well,
what?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying. I
Your
think
friends
Brett
are
was
male.
more the conservative type.
Your friends are male.
And then
he
they're-
doesn't shebang
yeah.
males.
Anyway, yeah. Well, we'll see. Time will tell.
What the fuck ever?
No, but I think what you're saying is right. All of us, like me and Brett too, we attract to a partner that we can rely on. Not as codependency, but like somebody that can keep us straight. Because that's what Megan, Mom, and Danielle do to all of us, is keep us on not a straight and narrow, but a path of,
100%.
If you're fucking around,
right.
we're gonna fix that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, don't say fucking around because that kind of hurts. Like,
Wow.
all right.
This is great. This is great.
So where are we gonna go?
No, you're at you're at the depressive state. How'd you get out of the depressive state though?
Okay, so I read the Bible and I realized that, you know what, life's too short. I gotta find somebody.
Yeah.
I just gotta find the right one.
Side note again, I'm so sorry. How much of the Bible did you read?
So I read about 3/4 of the Old Testament,
Okay.
and then I read about most of the New Testament.
The New Testament's more entertaining anyway.
Absolutely.
What
but
would you find is most like most stuck to you? What book?
Oh, dude.
Throughout your life,
I don't have a certain book.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the Golden Rule. I found that to be the most devastating and awe-stricken law. If you do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Golden Rule. Do it. Because listen, when I got done, I had two different. Oh, man, this is crazy. I can't even believe we're saying all this shit. So I had two different girls think I was queer or I didn't want to get with girls because I wouldn't sleep with them. But the reason I didn't want to sleep with them was because I knew that they wanted more out of.
No, yeah, I'm not trying to laugh at.
No,
I'm sorry.
you don't have to laugh. I don't give a shit, dude. If I wouldn't say it if I didn't care.
No, but I get what you're saying.
I care.
I get what you're saying. Like it's like
No.
They had this thought, but you were like trying to just fix your life, and you're like, well, I'm not trying to like.
I would literally go out with a girl, and we would go to dinner. And then we were supposed to go back to the bar, or we were going to a movie.
I did that 3 times before I met Danielle.
And I would stop.
Yeah,
I would stop them, and I would say,
I had a wonderful evening.
You are a great gal, but you are not my gal. Okay? And they would, because a couple of them
They
I
get
met.
offended a bit.
Oh, offended. They fucking called me names.
Dad,
and
think about Tinder, right? When I was into it, it was Tinder.
Yeah.
Now it's other shit. But when I did it, I hit a point in my life where I was like, I gotta maybe not jump around as much. Okay, I need to look for somebody that's gonna be with me and help me work towards a better life, because I'm working on some shit here. Because in my professional life, I was like, I'm gonna take some steps, but I can't be fucking around my personal life. So I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to try to, get somebody good. And about 3-4 dates, every girl, I was like, hey, it was nice meeting you. I'll see you later. And they're like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Or I was like, I don't think same shit. I didn't get called gay or anything. I just got called they'd be like, what the fuck is your problem, though?
Yeah. A couple of them just wanted to know what was wrong with me. Why I didn't like them. Okay, one of them I dated a little while. Her dad was willing to give me their house, all kinds of shit, if I would just marry her.
Well, that's kind of fucked. That's a red flag.
It was a red flag.
I'm not getting married.
I went. Well, there's more to that story, and we will not say it on this radio. But when I got there, and he offered me all that, I realized my value was more. And I realized I wanted a girl whose value was as high as mine. So I just kept just trying. And then I was just hanging out. And there was a kind of a dead space there. I was just meeting a girl and dating her and sending them home. And then one night, I'm in the bar, and same bar I met my first wife.
Yeah.
And a couple girls came in and sat next to they sat up at the bar, and most people sat out, closer to the dance floor. And so I noticed this one. I walked up and I walked past her, and I walked up and I walked past her. I wanted to ask her to dance, but man, she was kind of intimidating.
Yeah. Farrah Fawcett hairdo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All day long.
But brown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Real fucking mean.
Really
mean.
I could see Venom coming out. So, and I was like, well, I'm not sure if I ought to do this.
Yeah.
So finally, I went up and I said, "Would you like to dance?" And she said yes. Today, 35 years later, 35. I want to repeat that.
Hell
35 years later. What? We've been together.
It's 35,
we've been together.
Mom. Jesus.
Way over 35.
35.
And so, anyway, the truth is, I am a better person because of the woman I met that night.
Oh, yeah.
Because not only was she so people will think I'm so fucked up, but I meet her and then I find out she's got a pickup truck.
Yeah,
And-
she had
Woo!
the same. What was it, Mom? It was sorry,
Ranger,
I keep
Ford
calling
Ranger.
them. No, she had an older truck though before that, right? Didn't you?
No.
Well,
no,
but it was no power steering or anything either, right?
Yes.
No, she had that. Uncle who? Oh, you were driving it? Oh, damn it. Okay.
All right.
She had the Ranger?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
she had a
Ford fucking Ranger.
Ford fucking Ranger. And and it was brand new.
Badass
and
truck.
We get in it.
That had to be one of the first. I'm sorry. That had to be one of the first Rangers made, right? Like when were Rangers first made?
Not really.
In the 80s, right?
It was in 86, I think.
Yeah, it's one of the first Rangers. What?
Yeah, 86.
What?
No, it wasn't the end. It was in the middle. It was 86. I think they started making them 83. But anyway, long story short, she had a stick shift, so I knew she could drive a stick. Oh, so many women today can't drive sticks. Ladies,
Tell me about it.
Ladies out there right now, if you are on this podcast and listening, learn how to drive a stick. Drive the biggest piece of shit stick transmission you can find. Tear it up. I don't give a shit, but learn how to drive a stick. My wife could drive a stick. When I looked at the radio, I looked at her and I go, "Where'd you get that radio?" She said, fee, fi, fo, fum, because I wasn't going to pay what Ford wanted for a radio. So she bought an aftermarket radio because it was cheaper and much, much better. I'm like, score. I'm like, okay. I said, would you like to go to, I forget even what restaurant, and we went to a restaurant afterwards. What restaurant did we go to, Dan? When we left the bar, maybe not the first time, but I called her. So I got her phone number. I did get her phone number the first night, and I called her, and she kept making excuses why she couldn't go out on a date with me. Well, first of all, nobody makes excuses to Eddie. So
right.
I was like, this fucking hurts deep, you know. I mean, this hurts deep. So
you're bullshitting me.
You're bullshitting me, you know. She was like my cousin, my sister, my brother, my blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so she says she'll meet me at the bar next weekend. Who's she walk in with? Her best male friend and her ex-boyfriend.
Is it, what's his name? What was his name? Wait, is it the guy I'm thinking of? The one that we always see at shit? Tall, dark, and handsome?
He was very nice.
Yeah, it's him.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Keith.
Yeah.
It was Keith.
Okay,
and,
I was just wondering.
And then who was,
You know, obviously, Keith, you're listening.
and
Thank you for listening.
And Joe. And Joe, if you're
I
down
don't
there
know
in
Joe.
Florida, Joe's living in Florida now, but I'm going to tell you this. Joe used to be her backbone. And, Keith was her ex-boyfriend, but Joe, I mean, would do anything for Tammy.
Let's also just talk about, I just want to point out, because I'm right, the first generation Rangers came out in 83. So it was a first-gen Ranger that Mom was
86.
driving.
I said they came out in 83.
I'm just pointing out it's first
86.
gen. Anyway.
Okay. So no big deal.
So Keith comes in.
Keith comes in, and Joe comes in, and she's
they both came in.
Oh, and she's in the middle of them. They're like holding her arms.
Did you have and I, like, listeners that are not, there's going to be some that are from Vienna or around here, some that don't know you. Did you have a mustache at this point?
I've always had a mustache.
I know you did.
I
knew you had a beard. There was pictures I just saw with you having a beard.
I had a mustache when I was 15. I had a mustache and a beard when I was 16 or 17.
Yeah.
And
you always had a mustache. Pretty much after 20, you always just kept mustache, right?
And every winter I had a beard.
And it's a handlebar mustache always, or no?
Most of the time.
Most of the time. I just want to point out to people that, like, my my buddies know my dad is like it's a symbol. It's Prince. It's this, when he shows up, that's Eddie Lake with his mustache, and it's my dad.
So I just want to tell you something about Ben's friends. Ben's friends are my kids.
I asked them to show up. None of them showed up. Pussies.
They're pussies. They're every one of them. But I would tell you this much: I would whip every one of their asses if I needed to.
Do you hear Mom?
I yelled at them. Go ahead.
Mom said something about the blue couch. Vince, I told him, I go, hey, if you want to show up tonight, you
bring
guys
up
can
the
listen.
blue couch.
No, I said just sit here and listen if you want to, or we can hang out in breaks and stuff.
Yeah.
What did Vince say? Okay, who the fuck stained the blue couch? I was like,
and there will be no
Brett already did it.
There will be no more eating on the fucking blue couch
for a month.
And I'm going to tell you something. Every one of them boys was like mine, and they could come to my house.
I've lost my shit over stains on the couch.
Every one of them boys could stay upstairs. They stayed upstairs 100 times. There was them. Well,
it's all of
Ryan,
them. There's Ryan, Vince, Fred, Seth.
I seen Fred last week at the bar, but I can tell you this: I love them all, and I would do anything for them. I mean, if they called me tonight and said we got to go,
and they know that. No, they know that.
Yeah, but they know it just enough that they pussied out and not
right. They're all pussies. I'm not debating that.
No, they're
hey, pussies, but
their dad's not Eddie Lake.
Jesus.
I can tell you that much right now.
So you and Mom, you pretty
Okay.
much were me and Danielle, right? 6 months.
So
Lock it in.
I can tell you this.
9.
I
Oh,
asked
sorry.
I asked your
Sorry.
mom, and I asked your mom. I met her in January and asked her to marry me at Easter, and she laughed. And she laughed. And she laughed some fucking more.
She has another story about that, actually. That's not
Go
the
ahead.
first time she did that. No, it's fine. I'll let her save that for another.
Okay. Anyway.
I think we're going to do part 2 tomorrow with Tammy Lake.
Anyway, oh my gosh. I met the perfect gal. I thought, God damn, man. I mean, this gal can drive a stick. She can drive. She knows what a good radio is versus a shit radio. And she
What do
don't
you-
mind
I-
me coon hunting
Can I
every
ask-
night of the fucking week.
Let me ask you a question real quick, right? Because you're debating marrying this woman, okay?
I never debated
Okay, okay.
I
Well,
never fucking
okay.
debated once.
But you guys are what, 26, 20? Well, you're 26, 27, right? 26? He's 25, you're 27? Yeah. Tammy Lake won't come over to the mic, but whatever. They're debating this. Are you guys talking about like finances? Are you guys talking about like who wants to have kids? Like,
That
what
might-
about that shit?
Okay, so that might have been. Go ahead. What'd you say? Yeah, so
Yeah.
we probably
A
fucked
house
up.
cost $40,000 back then. So
Yeah, we fucked up. I didn't ask her if she had any bills. She didn't ask me if I had any bills. She didn't
Jesus
ask me. Oh fuck, we were so fucked up. But
No, I
There
just
was-
wonder. I'm not trying to shit on you guys. I just-
Listen, that's one of the problems that people have that meet each other. They don't find out that this person's got $60,000 in fucking debt, and if you marry her, your credit's at 780 and her credit's at 530. So now your
now you're
credit's at
meeting in the middle,
600.
yeah.
You're right. So
Well, here, hold on. Before we jump into it, I want to take a break.
yep.
I want to take a little break. Okay. We'll jump right back into credit history with my parents when we get back. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
We're back
Okay.
with another break. Okay, we're back with Dad and Mom. Mom's gonna guest host a little bit. We're back. We hit up with Dad. You know, he finally, he met Mom. They got married.
Whoa,
Whoa.
Whoa. So
What was it
first-
like? I want to know. Sorry, I have a question. Not now. Right now. I'll hit you up when it.
All right. So the first time we went to breakfast together, I looked at her and I said, "So this waitress is going to come over. I'm going to say, hey, darling, babe, sweetness, whatever."
Sweetness.
I said, don't. If you're going to
Hot
get offended,
shit.
if you're going
Tight ass.
if you're going to get offended by that, it's not gonna work. And she goes, whatever. And I also want to tell you that her first statement to me was, if you're looking for a long-term commitment, I'm not your girl. I just got out of a long-term, and I'm just looking for right now, which meant sex.
Here,
Here,
Okay, I got two questions. I'll
all
go
right,
one
go
for
ahead,
you, one
go
for
ahead.
Mom. One, I don't know how quick it was, but what was it like meeting Ted Aubuchon? Jesus Christ, Ted Aubuchon, though.
Okay, so her dad. This is one of our big moments that we talk about quite often. So the first time that we were going to go on a date, I was going to pick her up early in the morning, and
In the morning.
yeah, and we had to drive all the way across the state of Illinois with a coon dog. We were going to a coon dog show. We were going to show the dog at a big show. So I went to his door and I rang his doorbell, but on his mailbox it said, Mr. It said
TN.
no, it said T.N. Aubuchon.
Yeah, it still
So-
said that. Like,
right.
the-
We have the mailbox.
what's his middle name? It's weird.
Nord.
Nord.
Right. So, long story short, with Tammy, she comes out and I said, I had to ask her dad. He answered the door and I said, may I speak to Tammy? And she said, yeah, just a minute. He went and got her. And she came out and she goes,
Well, you said, hello, Mr. Aubuchon.
yeah, Mr. Aubuchon. She goes, how'd you know that was my dad's name? And I go,
Says it on the
it's on the
mailbox."
fucking mailbox. And she goes, I might have been adopted. I go, what the fuck? What's wrong
Leave
with
me
you?"
alone.
Yeah. So we get in the car and we drive across Illinois, and I'm trying
Drove
to
all the way. Like
Right.
this is like what 6 a.m.
Oh, early.
And it's the first date.
First date. I'm trying to ask her every
You fucking
fucking exit.
psychos.
I'm going like,
What's the
you wanna,
atlas
You want to
say?"
stop? You want to stop it? No. You want to stop it? No. I've been there 100 times. I mean, like, I'm a hunter, man. I show dogs, hunted dogs.
There's a quick trip coming up
Yeah.
here. You
I
want
said,
a
you want to
bingo?
stop? Yeah. She said, nope. So we go. We show the dog. I don't think we even won. We fucking drive all the way home. I think we placed, but we didn't. We didn't win. We placed,
What
but we
a
didn't
date.
win. So
You get a hot dog?
all the way home, I'm asking her if she wants to eat.
Lion? You
I
want a
leave her
Lion's
out.
choice or
I,
what?
I leave her out at her front door, and later, much later, I find out her first words to her mother was, "Do you want anything at fucking McDonald's? Because I'm fucking starving. I'm
You
leaving."
guys didn't eat?
She didn't. I ate.
Where'd you eat at?
I ate at
What?
the clubhouse. I ate on the
Oh,
way
a
there.
fucking- what'd they have there, Dad?
At
There
McDonald's
was
on the way
nothing there.
Yeah, no, you're wrong. There was.
Yeah,
she
he had a
didn't want to
sausage
eat.
McMuffin on the way there. We could share a
Long story short, she didn't want to eat because she didn't want me to see her eating.
For real? Well, I asked her this. So I did just No, it's fine. You really didn't want him to see you eat?
No.
Why?
I don't know, because I was stupid.
How old are you? 27?
26 or something.
What the fuck? Okay.
It was awkward.
I'll get to mom in a minute. That's fine.
But I
It's
didn't
the first date. That's true.
Okay.
I didn't want to shit in front of Danielle for like 3 months. Like, I never wanted to. Like, even go to the bathroom. I never wanted to.
Okay, so then
Dad's just like, we're going to a coon
No, I
hunt.
just wanna go-
I'm going to show you this.
So-
we're going to McDonald's.
and then
it's gonna be a
I
good
call her
time.
the next day and she goes, "I've got a rash all over my body." I go, "Why?" And she goes,
Eyes were swollen.
"I'm allergic to dogs." I go,
You really
"What
are?
the fuck?"
What about Hank?
One dog doesn't bother her, but if you got a room full, it will fucking blow her up. And I'm telling you, it's not
You
pretty.
didn't know, though?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, I knew.
yeah, she knew. No,
Fuck it. It's Eddie Lake. Going.
yeah, she.
I don't
yeah.
know what that was. I'll look.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Oh.
You have two choices. Don't go
Or-
or go with Eddie
Yeah, I'll
Lake.
go with Eddie Lake.
She went with Eddie
Yeah,
Lake.
she chose the wrong. No.
What the fuck is wrong
Jesus.
with you now? Anyway, so anyway, we go there. And then Easter comes, and I looked at her and I said, "I want to marry you." And she laughed and laughed and laughed.
You said it on Easter Day,
Yeah,
and this is like 4 months in.
yeah.
Yeah, you're classy. Okay,
She says,
she laughed.
You know what she laughed? She said, "You don't even know me."
I think it was like 2 months.
Right, it's funny. It's
Yeah.
funny, Dad.
Yeah, and you know what I told her? I don't need to know you because I love you, and as long as you're not judgmental, but she's not judgmental. Okay, she's judgmental. To you. She's judgmental to you guys, but she's not judgmental to me. I knew she was right for me.
Right, you at that point in your life, you're like, I fucking know.
I know.
So
I know.
And a lot of people say that, and it's like it's a fourth marriage, like you know
Fourth
whatever.
marriage.
But
Fuck
no,
that.
I'm saying people say that though, like on their fourth marriage, they're like, "Oh, God saved me with this one." And it's like, okay, but you know, with you, listening to what you just said, you know, your whole life.
No, I kind of knew what I wanted in life.
No, Dad. But the whole story of your life, you're like, it. You understand at that point. Okay, that this woman makes sense for me. This is who I want. Because you had dealt with so much differences in your life up to that point. You were like, I know what I want in life. Now,
Absolutely.
what I need you to do is hand that microphone and headphones over to Mom. And I got to talk to her for a minute.
Sure.
Just for a minute.
Just for a minute.
Absolutely.
Good. Because I got to go to bed.
Yeah. No, you're not.
Well, until we need to drive.
Okay. We'll dive down your rabbit hole of a childhood later. But let's just talk about when you met Eddie Lake. What was that like?
Earth shattering.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know. Like he said, I guess because we were the age we were and we
What were you doing at that point?
just having fun.
You're 27. I had 2 kids by then.
Well, that's your problem.
It's my problem. Yeah. You just living life though, just
Yeah.
working.
Yeah,
What?
working.
Yeah.
I was
Where'd you
still-
work?
was still living at home just because there was really no reason for me to move out.
I'm not trying to be like stereotypical here. You were also a woman in the 80s. Typically, they did stay home until they got married, right? That was kind of a trend
Yeah,
until the
yeah.
90s or 2000s.
Yeah, probably in that generation. Yes.
Yeah. What about so you're with Dad for 2 months.
2 months. Will you marry me?
Will you marry me?
Sure.
Sure. It was 4?
It was 2.
It was
We
2.
met in January,
March.
or maybe the beginning of February, and then you asked me to marry you in April,
She was hot.
and then we got married in September.
Where'd you get married at?
Little chapel.
What was it like? Oh, you got married at the chapel up by between Grandpa's house and the Quick Trip up there. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So what was it like planning a wedding in 4 fucking months?
It was pretty easy, actually.
Because it wasn't.
See, but don't you think that's crazy that you did that in that amount of time? Because I feel like it's impossible to plan a wedding that quick.
Well, that's because nowadays people want too much.
I could say a lot.
In a-
Absolutely.
in a wedding.
Absolutely.
In a
Yeah.
wedding.
But no,
But
she's
absolutely,
you
because-
can't even hear her, Dad. She's fine.
Okay.
She's
But
doing-
absolutely, because, the problem is today they want this and this and this and this in their wedding, and we didn't have all that bullshit.
No, not we.
No,
You didn't.
We
A
didn't.
lot of people did.
Yes,
a lot of
yes,
people
yes,
did.
they did.
A lot of people did. Me and Danielle didn't have a big wedding.
No,
Okay.
we were proud of
Di-
your wedding.
I'm proud of my
Both-
wedding
both
too.
of 'em.
But Tony didn't have a big wedding either. Okay.
Proud of
And
her.
Brett and Megan, they're
Or insane.
they're not. Jesus.
Nah.
I think
They're insane, Dan.
I think
I just
what
hit Ed in the head with the mic.
yeah, Megan. Let
Megan, that was
Yeah.
for you.
I think what they're doing is they're just having a big wedding that like they know about, and that's fine.
That's what they want.
I think it's good if you want to have a big wedding. I think it's good if you want to. Me and Danielle, you should tell Mary, my cousin,
Yeah.
to have a small one. Be like, hey,
Are you any less married? With a
are you any less married with an elope,
Versatile
with getting eloped, or me and Danielle, we got married by Scott technically. If you want to really go down that road.
better go with her, 'cause I'm gonna get the headphones back, and she's going
Take
to bed.
them
You going to bed, Mom?
in a minute.
Okay. Well, my last question, Mom, is just what are the 2 best qualities of Ed Lake, if you could ever sum them up? If you had to ever sum up Ed Lake,
Oh, you want an answer?
you can write it down later, I guess. I'll read it
The
in
two-
the fucking
two-
later comments. Jesus fucking Christ.
What the
No,
fuck?
if you had you have a little kid right here, and they said, why is your husband so great? Like two testaments to him. What are they?
Probably number one is because he's too giving. And number two, Fun? He's fun.
Well, the first one you said was he's too giving,
Because
which is
he
a
doesn't know-
backhanded compliment.
Because he doesn't know how to say no to anybody.
Yeah, that's true. And then what was the
And
other
I
one?
do.
That he's fun.
He's fun.
He's fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, like a Power Rangers doll or a bouncy ball.
I've never had a Power Rangers doll, so I
Yeah.
wouldn't know.
But you had a bouncy ball.
I have it like.
You have a lake. And with that, guys, it's a hint of what Tammy Lake will be like as our guest. Okay, just be excited for that. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah,
I hope you can go to
Mom.
bed.
Thanks, Mom. Go to bed now.
No, I like that. That he's. I'll dive into that later. So you got Mom. You know,
Yeah.
you get married.
So,
So no, you
whoa,
get
whoa, whoa.
married.
So I'm dating this girl. I always tell a story because she hates it. So about a third, fourth time we're dating, I picked her up. We pull into the bar, and a friend of mine is walking across, and I go, "Oh, that's a buddy of mine." I said, "I'm gonna holler at him." And listen to her in the background. She goes, "Oh my God." She goes, "What? What?" I go, "Yeah, that's a buddy of mine." So I holler at him, and she like wanted to crawl in a cave in the truck.
Oh, really?
She had met him a couple of weeks before me and her met. And they went to the party after the party and had a little fun, drinking or whatever. I don't know what all happened. She keeps saying it's all innocent. He keeps saying it was wild as fuck. So who do you believe? Who? Who do you really believe?
Well, what's great is my dad can't even remember who this is. So,
Are you back on? Yeah. You fucker. Oh my God.
I didn't say a name. We're fine.
Yeah. So
So Mom was shy. Mom was
shy. Mama shy ass. Bullshit the baker. He'll give you a bun. Don't bullshit Eddie Lake because I ain't got none.
Okay.
Okay?
Jesus.
That is the fucking truth. I've taught you that 100 times. Don't bullshit me because I ain't got none.
I know. I'm just saying you guys couldn't remember the names, so it's like
Yeah.
whatever. But I do use that quote.
John Pace is his name. John
Who the
Pace.
fuck is John? See, this is what I'm saying. Yeah, I didn't know who the fuck that is. You guys never brought him around. I knew Keith before I knew John Pace.
Well,
Like,
John Pace, and John Pace a good
let's just
dude.
say John Pace a couple more times so it really gets
John
it.
Pace, John Pace.
yeah,
He
Jesus
lives in
fucking
Cuba,
Christ.
Missouri.
Oh, he lives in Cuba? Jesus.
Union.
Oh, okay.
He lives
I was
in
like-
Union,
I was
Missouri.
like, he's really close.
And he's a plumber, and Tammy liked him a little bit.
Anyway, it's fucking 45 years ago.
35, and
Oh, it might as well be.
know.
So, no, we got to move from this.
okay.
What? So, you guys got married.
Yeah.
I saw the pictures. It was beautiful. What transpired? How do you view your first couple years of marriage?
Oh, fuck. She should have fucking shipped me. She should have fucking shipped me down the fucking road because I loved hunting
Coon
so
hunting, right,
much.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. She found a job at Group Health Plan,
Wasn't
and I
there?
said,
I'm sorry. Wasn't there a video at a certain point of when? Wasn't it Tony was born, and you were like, it was like a day or two after she was born, and Dad's like, I'm going to this coon hunt, and Grandma's like, aren't you gonna stay with the baby? And you're like, well, I gotta go to this coon.
Grandma. Grandma.
Yeah, you were staying at Grandma's house still. Yeah.
Grandma hated
Yeah.
me at that moment. She thought that I should stay home with the baby.
It was the other way around. She was like, yeah, go.
Yeah, she said go. Mom was like, "Are you serious?" And you're like, "Yeah, I gotta hunt." I can't remember the whole video. You remember the video, right?
Yeah, but her mom said that because she did not want me to go. She was like, "Go ahead and go."
It reminds me. It reminds me of every time I think about you guys getting married. I think about in Goodfellas when she like is like, "Where is he? He hasn't been home." And like it's like 5, 6 in the morning. The sun's coming up, and he walks in the door, and the wife gets up and is like, "Where were you?" And the grandma's like, "Where were you, Henry? You need to be here." And he just starts laughing and leaves the house and gets back in the car with
Go-
his buddy.
and you got
And
to
he's
go
just
home.
like, "Where were you, Henry? Yeah, where were you?" And he just leaves the fucking house.
So it wasn't
Mom, you don't understand. I love him.
that. Okay. So let's have another drink and think about this. My theory on that is
Do you think spouses are too strict at this point?
no. I don't want to say that.
That was convincing.
No, I don't want to say that because you know what? Everybody everybody has different relationships. My wife let me go hunting every night. And then when I got rid of dogs, if I would have said, "I'm leaving for the night, I'll be home tomorrow morning," she would have like, fuck you. Because that's
Right.
you know, the deal is I had dogs and I hunted them. But then when I got rid of them, we were done with that all night bullshit.
Right. Right.
Okay.
You can't be like, "Well, I'm gonna replace that with going to the bar."
Yeah,
or-
no. Bullshit. The baker, he'll give you a bun. Don't bullshit Eddie.
It's the
You
same
ain't
with
got
me.
no-
No, I think that's the same dad as guys that love golfing and guys that love golfing or guys that love I mean me, I like golfing, I like running, and I like coming over here every now and then over with my buddies, go to the bar. But I could never convince Danielle, I don't think, of being like, "Hey, I'm gonna go out chasing raccoons all night with a dog."
Well, you could if you were really chasing raccoons with a dog.
But I'm saying right
Here's
now,
the-
I'm not.
no,
I'm not
no.
obsessed with that. I'm saying your
No.
obsession was that Mom knew that. Mom knew that you loved that. Mom is really good at knowing what me, you, Brett, Tony,
Well,
all of us
stop
like
right there.
and don't like. though.
If you don't want to go deep, let's don't go deep because
We'll
I
go
can tell
deep.
you. Well, I can tell you this: that girl over there has put up with craziness. I've sat on a fucking tailgate with her and told another girl side by side, "I'll take you to California. I'll take you to Florida. Come on, baby." And she said, "Your wife's sitting right next to you." And I go, "Don't worry about her. We're
I'm
going
sure you were
on."
serious about all of it.
I was drunk.
Oh, weird.
Serious.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But she, unlike a lot of women, woke up the next day and said, "Are you proud of yourself? Are you happy that you acted stupid, gotten drunk in front of
You
all
don't
your
think
friends?"
a lot of women do that?
No, because I think a lot of women go fucking crazy, batshit crazy,
hold
and
it.
go,
They hold it in.
and then go, "Fuck you! I don't ever want to fucking see you
And
again."
that's
if you're
what,
gonna
and that's
fucking
what Danielle does every
Yeah,
week.
right.
Every week. It's so annoying.
every week she jumps on you.
I'm just joking, Dad.
She jumps on you.
Dad, no. Jesus
don't
fuck
never want
Christ,
to
'cause I
fucking
don't
see
talk
you
to
again.
women like
She
that, you
fucking-
psycho.
yeah, you fucking- she says, "I fuck
Are you going
baby."
to China? Are you want to go to China? What the fuck is that? No.
I'm not talking about China. I'm talking about fucking Florida, someplace we can go.
No, I don't. I don't say that
I'm
very much.
gonna have a cold cocktail.
Yeah.
Can you hear that? That's a cold cocktail. Hold on. That's a cool cocktail.
We're with mom.
You're not with Mom. She's never been with us.
You have your first child.
Ah,
Let's talk about that.
Tony.
How was that? How was having a first child?
Are you asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you.
Holy fuck. Okay.
It's the greatest, right? It's the greatest.
My daughter was the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my life.
Yep.
And then I realized I had to get my shit together.
Yep.
Because I was
That's
fucking
what I wanted to get to,
up.
Dad. That's what I want to get to. Isn't it crazy how a kid makes you realize you're like, oh, fuck, I got to figure this out. Because they mean so much. You're just like, I gotta get it together.
And I was so Eddie Lake was so fucking cool that I was like, okay, so Tammy, you go to work and I'm gonna train dogs at home. And so I trained dogs at home.
Where'd Mom work?
We lived in Hawk Point. She worked
Where the
in
fuck
St.
is Hawk Point? By New Malley?
No,
Where the fuck's Hawk Point? Troy?
north of Warrenton.
Oh.
Straight north of Warrenton. Straight north. Anyway, Tony was a baby. She went to work. She worked all the way in our city. Actually, it wasn't our city.
Wait.
Bridgeton.
Where is that at? Where'd you work at?
Group Health.
Oh, okay.
And so, I would train dogs at night, so I had the baby during the day. So deer season came, and I told her, I said, I got to go.
Fucking God.
Oh, yeah, here it comes.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, no, baby, here it comes. Here it comes. I got to go deer hunting. And she goes, how old was it? It was November, 6 months. She was 6 months. I put her in a little fucking basket, and we went out, and I covered up, and we sat by a tree. And
Tony?
Yeah.
You're talking about you took Tony.
at 6 months.
You took Tony at 6 months
Yeah.
coon hunting.
No, deer hunting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Deer hunting.
Next to a tree.
You took Tony 6 months deer hunting
For
wrapped
2
up in a
hours.
fucking basket.
Yeah, and
Wrapped up in
then
a basket.
she started getting
Yeah,
upset.
she was probably pissed off because it was cold.
It was cold. It was
Right, it probably
fucking
was
freezing cold.
Right, that's crazy.
So I walked back to the house with
You
her in the
fucking
basket.
psycho! What's wrong with you?
No, there wasn't nothing wrong with me.
I'll pull a Ed Lake on you. What's
No,
wrong with
there
you?
ain't nothing wrong with me. You know what? You gotta fucking be a man.
She was a child.
She was
in
a child.
basket.
So I changed her diaper. I gave her a bottle. We put her in the truck and we road hunted. We went 1.5 miles. I killed a fucking doe that was crossing the road. Put it in the back of the truck. Hang it in the back and hang it.
bully for you.
Yeah, bully.
What the
bully,
fuck?
bully. So your mom gets home and she goes, there's a deer hanging in a tree, and she goes, what the fuck is that? And I go, it's a deer.
She didn't know you took Tony.
No, had no idea.
Oh,
she goes, she goes, where was Tony? I go, with me. We shot out of the truck. I sat right over here for about an hour, and then she got restless. I gave her a bottle, changed her diaper. Then we went for a ride. She goes, you're out of control. I go,
I know.
no, I didn't say that. I said,
Cat scratch fever.
I said,
you.
I said, look
That's
what's
you.
on that tree. Look what's on that tree. Look what's on that tree.
No.
Bottom line, look what's on that tree.
No, Dad.
Yeah, we fed the
You
family
you
with
could've
the
left-
fucking deer.
Okay, you could have done that after Mom got home.
Yeah, when
You
mom got,
spotlighted.
no, I didn't do it. I didn't believe in spotlighting.
Just drive down the road, figure
Yeah.
it out. Yeah. Uh-huh. Anyway.
So, isn't this funny how a guy can invite you to a podcast, and then he starts getting pissed off at his daddy.
I'm not pissed off. I'm surprised.
Oh, a little bit. A little
I'm
surprised. Yeah, I'm not.
I'm just disappointed.
I'm not mad at you.
Disappointed.
I'm just disappointed.
And how the tables turn.
All right, let's cheer to that.
Yeah.
Cheer to that. Oh.
I just wanted to point out the cheers too was Dad with a handful of whiskey, and I have a Bud Light because I support the trans community, obviously.
What the fuck?
So you got a baby you're killing deer with. You got mom working. You're running dogs. Sure.
Oh
No, what do you got? What do you got running?
Wait a
after
minute.
that?
Let's get this right.
Dad, I'm trying-
and we're still going to parties.
And you're still going to parties.
So we go to this party, and we went to like 4 or fucking 5, and her boyfriend Keith, he was going to show up, but he wouldn't show up, and he wouldn't show up, and he wouldn't show up.
you guys were married for like a year at this point.
No, we're about what? We were married about 6 months, I guess.
Well, you should have been about a year
So-
because Tony was born.
No, well, all right, let's go back. Well,
That's interesting.
we'll
That's
sky back.
real interesting.
All right.
We were married in '88. Tony was born in '90.
Okay, I don't know when, but I can
Tony
tell
was
you,
born in '89.
I can tell you
Mom.
I can tell you the part. I can tell you the party.
We're gonna take a break real quick.
Don't
Sorry,
take that
guys.
break.
I gotta
Don't
a
take
break.
it. Don't take it.